Welcome to Touching Tips, a podcast dedicated to the world of PSVR2. My name is Karen Alive and Well, and I'll be introducing your hosts. From the west of Ireland, he is a visionary, a leader, a sensual and generous lover, as I can attest. Petrifying Pumpkins. Pumpkins was once a successful businessman before a tragic incident left him with stage 2 ligma of the mind. No longer able to run his multinational POG corporation, Pumpkins turned to his other passion, PSVR. Hence, this channel and later podcast were born. Pumpkins is famous all over the world thanks to the various Easter eggs dedicated to him in PSVR exclusive Firewall 0 Hour. Most famously, if you go to the hangar map in the air control tower, you will see radar screens with various aircraft designations that, when combined, spell out petrifying pumpkins. It really does make him better than you. From Mexico, he has many names: El Chupacabra, El Fuego, El Pasión. But around here we call him Mr. 777 or Jackpot. Mr. 777 moved to the United States as a wee lad. A former Xbox fan, Jackpot gave up on Team Green when he discovered the future is virtual reality, and has been on PlayStation since. Jackpot lives with his mother in her basement. She reached out to Pumpkins, begging him to let Jackpot be a co-host as she worries about his lack of social communication skills, as you will soon see for yourselves. He turned to marijuana at a young age and has reached a stage where if he were to ever stop smoking, the shock to his system would kill him immediately. Jackpot has a heavily stained pillow that he calls Amanda. He believes that she is real and that he is in a long-term relationship with her. His catchphrase is, "Bitch." And finally, all the way from the frigid wastes of Canada, comes Muzz. Muzz has a passion for maple syrup and discussing PSVR2. He once got lost in the frozen tundra of northern Canada with his best friend. The ordeal was harrowing and led to Muzz eating the remains of his friend in order to survive. Shortly after, Muzz turned to VR gaming as a way to escape the horrors of the reality he leaves every time he puts on the headset. It's worth noting that while Muzz maintains his best friend was dead before he began to consume him, later studies of the remains hinted at the possibility that the friend died from infections that were caused from bites, though due to a handling error, the evidence was deemed inadmissible and Muzz walked free. He also has a cat. Without further ado, let the show begin. I've been Karen Alive and Well, and I will now hand you over to the strong, sexy hands of Pumpkins. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and all that usual YouTube shite.
What the fuck is this?
And you should be unmuted, and my mic should be hot, as they say in the showbiz. Test.
Hot mic.
Test.
Hello,
1, 2, 3.
everybody.
Jackpot's camera's a little bit high. Just gonna drag it down a touch so I don't see that bar that pops up every time he speaks. That has Discord shit going on. Anyway, test. How's the test? Everyone's hearing us good? Donnie says test is good. Thank you, Donnie. Let me catch up in the chat. Rogue says shake my fucking ass. Fozzie Bear, how you doing? Donnie says sup you bums. Pay the entry fee of 1 thumb or 1 sub or get the fuck out. Thank you very much, Donnie, for laying down the law. Move Master Mick is there. Moving.
Better do as he says.
You better.
It's crazy.
Dude's been shot 3 times. Roy Schwartz. Peeping, how you doing, Roy? Move Master Mick with the move emojis. Relics of the past now at this stage. LSB shaking his head. Solid Justice leaving a like before he has to go back to work. I'm sorry to hear that. Solid Justice. Disgusting to be working at this time of day. And Move Master Mick also letting us know that the test is good. So thank you very much. Welcome to episode number 70 of Touching Tips. We got quite a few of these out now. I'm joined as always by Muzz and Mr. Jackpot. Lads, how you been? How you doing? How's the penis?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Right now flaccid.
Flaccid?
I'm doing good.
You said not flaccid or flaccid? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Right now right now flaccid. Yeah.
Right now? Okay, thanks.
Completely.
Chairface, how you doing? And Jolf as well is here. How's it going? Nice to see.
How
So
about you? What have you been up to besides crying about PSVR and how much they bamboozle you for $600?
I've been doing reviews. I've been getting review, and I didn't even look for the review codes, which is the unusual
Nice.
thing. People, I think it was since the last episode we did. I think because I had the titles of the games in the title of the last week's episode, like developers were like, "Hey, do you want this review copy? Try it out." So it's kind of like been stressful enough to try and get these reviews ready before the embargoes lift. And I've just finished playing one today, and I think the embargo will lift on Thursday. So that'll be the next one. I can't tell you, unfortunately, but yeah, the last one was Cube, which was good. We'll talk about Cube later on a little bit. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, playing review kind of games. I just did a little bit of streaming. What did we play last? I don't even remember. It's been a few days now, isn't it?
I don't know. You played.
Wait, Firewall last?
I can't remember.
Firewall?
I can't
I think it
remember.
was Firewall.
Check.
It might have been.
It was Firewall. Live.
Golf? Is it not golf? I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't.
No, it was Firewall because it was Firewall, then it was Touching Tapes, and then you did that Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Firewall was the last thing.
People wanted to see what Cube was like that one time. I'll probably never stream it again. I'll probably have to delete it soon because it's fucking like 70 gigs on the hard drive, and it's
Yeah.
like, if I want to download other games, it has to go. So yeah, that's rough. Anyway, I know, Jackpot, you've been playing Helldivers, but have you been playing anything else maybe? Oh, you've been playing Contractors. I've been watching you play Contractors. You're awful bad at that game.
It looks fun. man. You are
I
bad.
am-
You guys are bad, but I want to play
We
it.
are. I am pretty bad, but it's like any other game. I feel like the more we play, the better we get. We're not good. I'm not good. I'm really fucking trash.
Yeah.
But
You
you
get
can
some
see the
kills.
slight
You get some
progress.
kills.
Yeah, you can start getting used to it a little bit. I'm telling you, man, this game. I know you say you're. I know. I understand what Pumpkins. Why are you so negative?
I'm not negative.
It's not gonna come.
I'm not negative.
I know. No.
Oh no, I want that game. I mean, I don't mean.
I know,
okay.
but you're like, oh, probably not gonna come because of the shit news that we've been getting lately. But I have a feeling it will come to. I think it's gonna be so big that they're gonna, if it's a risk, take the risk to port it to PSVR2. Because you'll see, dude, that game is gonna be, and a lot of people, oh, it's gonna die. Decepticon, you know, he's a little bitch. He's like, oh, and then the new thing is gonna come out, and then we're gonna be playing that. And what's the point? I was like, dude, we play like Population 1 for at least a year straight. Like, that's enough for me. If something better comes along, then that's fine. We'll jump on the new fucking game. But this is, for me, the new VR game.
The new cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching
Those
your
gun
stream.
mechanics.
Yeah, just the
gun
way you
mechanics.
put the attachments on and shit, the way you grip the gun, and you can grip other people's guns and like pull them away. That was like that
Yeah,
blew my
one grab.
mind.
Yeah.
Fucking elastic arms, and I like how you can detach shit after you use them. If you don't want to use them anymore, swap the fucking things. The gun mechanics, you know how you can see every bullet when you load the magazines.
Yeah, that was
cool.
cool. That was cool.
When you were like ejecting the bullets one at a time, and then it finally like got to the last one in the clip. You took the mag out, and then the bullet was still on the gun. The last bullet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to see how realistic.
Or you
how,
see
how much
the HUD is actually like if you pull out the magazine and look at the top, like the HUD actually tells you the number of bullets left
Yeah.
and like where the magazine is. Like it's just slick.
And there's a lot of stuff that we still have to figure it out because we didn't play as much. But dude, I'm telling you that game, like all the mechanics are really good. And what I really like about the game is the gameplay, right? The shooting. It's not. Look, I love Population 1, right? But one thing I hated is that there was a lot of people that they did the strategy is they peek with one hand because they climb, and then with the other one they just fucking aim and perfectly shoot with one hand an assault rifle and perfectly hit it straight. With this, you grab an AK and you do one hand and you break
Yeah.
your wrist because the gun just starts going backwards like that. And that's for me more realistic and is what I like. So the gameplay feels slightly to me like.
Oh, it looks so
PUBG.
much better. In my opinion, it looks so much better than Population 1. I never was a fan of like the whole like it's like putting your arms out and gliding, like doing that little glidey thingy every time that you jump off a building.
It's fun, and I like climbing.
Yeah,
It's a different mechanic. It's not as
Yeah.
realistic, but I just didn't like the same with Firewall. I complain about this a lot, right? The one hand shooting with assault rifles and just your wrist is just the fucking, strongest wrist in the world to be able to handle them. But it's a good game, dude. All the little VR stuff that it has, you can buy the airstrikes. That, like I said, I think they combine a lot of the best thing about all the battle royale games, but the most important thing is the gameplay, and I like PUBG's gameplay. How kind of like, for me, it feels kind of hardcore-y. It doesn't feel so easy, and for me, this game is kind of like that. I don't know. It's intense.
I like more grounded. I like more of the grounded combat feel like that too. Like I don't like too much like jumping around and like flying everywhere and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like,
Although you still do a lot of like you go up a zip line and then you're in your parachute again and kind of.
But it's a parachute. It's not like you can like jump off a building and then like glide around and
Climb everywhere and.
Yeah, it's not Fortnite-ish.
But what I wish though, like when I see you play in that game, like the map's a pretty big size and there is a decent amount of people. Like you said, it's up to what 60. Is it 60?
I think it's 40 in the beta, wasn't it? And then it's like going to be 60.
I think they're gonna want to do 60 something. I think right now it's only 45, but they're gonna do 60 something.
That's like that makes me wish like as fun as it looks like to play like that kind of game, like teams of 3 and like the whole battle royale thing. It's like, why can't you just like have like 30 players versus 30 players on that kind of big scale map?
I knew he was going to say Battlefield again.
That's what I want. I would so much rather have that big playing field and then just have like include all the vehicles like tanks and motorcycles and all those things and just have it 30 versus 30 on the map. That would be perfect.
It would be sick.
I would play that. I would play that all day long.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you just get respawned back to one of your checkpoints, and you just keep playing.
Yeah, sadly.
That's all I want. That's all I want. And they always go to Battle Royale instead.
I think Battle Royale is probably just like a safer bet. Like it's more of a it's trending. You know, people still love them Battle Royales.
The problem with Battle Royale is you only really enjoy it if you have people to play with, right? And this is only teams of 3, not even teams of 4. So when it's a Battlefield style game, if it was 30 versus 30, I could jump in by myself. I don't have to talk to anybody. If it's a team of 30, I could just go off and do my own shit and still have fun.
Yeah,
I'm not like required to like team up with somebody, right?
But you could do solos in Battle Royale. It's like the same thing, no?
Yeah, but why would you want to do that? You're going to come across a team of 3 and just get a 9.
Oh no, you could like if that's true that like they mix the solos with the groups, that's fucking shit, and they need to change that. But like if you're doing solos, then you need to be matched up against other people who are doing solos, like otherwise it's bullshit.
They do that, if they break it up like that, then that would be all right.
That's what I would hope they're doing, because otherwise it's completely unfair.
It just depends on the player base. If there's enough people, I'm sure they'll do it. But I don't.
But
think,
I would still more enjoy. I would still more enjoy like a team, like battle, like having teammates that I don't have to like communicate with, but I can like just help them out. Like when I see them in a battle, I'll just run over and shoot with them, and then
have a loadout and not have to worry about finding guns and scamming them for everything.
Being able to respawn. Unlock your weapons, unlock your gear that you want to take into the field, and still make it that you can like change your attachments on the field like you do in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm getting on a tangent.
I want both.
I just really want a Battlefield game. That's all. I'm never gonna get it. Never
it's like, well, there's fucking what is it? D-Day, whatever. Play that one.
No. Come on.
Anyways, it's like
Come on.
I think that they're going for the safe bet into trying to copy what's the most popular, let's say, shooting game right now? It's probably Warzone, right? Or one of those Call of Duty games.
Warzone, yeah.
This is as similar to Warzone as it's very fucking, and I don't play Warzone, but I played a little bit. Very similar, except like I said, I like the stuff that you can do that is more similar to PUBG and the little vending machines that you can buy different things on it, the insurance, the different ammo, and all that stuff. But I agree with you, Mus. If there's somebody who made this game with this gameplay, but more of a team deathmatch type style, battle field type style, I think it will be also successful. I think they just, man, they don't want to. We're not there yet to have that many, developers doing this shit. But
yes, we are. It would only take. It would only take one, and if someone made a really good game, like everyone that owns a VR would be playing it, because it's like you'd have no competition. You just have to be the first to do it.
Like
and make it really good.
0 Hour.
Yeah, like Firewall 0 Hour. They were the first to like really do an awesome competitive VR shooter, and they owned the market for like years because there's no one to challenge them.
Yeah, on PSVR1 anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm trying to catch up on some comments here. Donnie says Jackpot has me thinking about getting a Quest. Well, not really, but Contractors does.
Bitch. I'm excited, Donnie. First.
I'm just praying that it comes to PSVR2 because I can't
Yeah.
afford a Quest as much as I want one.
It probably will, most.
It better, or else. Elephant Trap, how you doing? Says I finished Vertigo 2 and Red Matter. Now started Star Wars Tales in VR. That's again, like, I wish I was into Star Wars because I would have probably snapped that up day one, but I actively kind of dislike Star Wars. Even the original trilogy, like, I just don't understand the appeal of it. But
I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I still haven't played that.
do you own it?
I do want to play it. I actually.
Well, I mean, like, did you actually buy it and you just haven't played it yet, or you just haven't got it yet?
No, I just played the demo, and the demo wasn't like the it was okay, but it wasn't like enough to make me like, okay, I need to buy this and play it right now. So I just kind of.
I heard good things about it.
Maybe I'll get to it. Yeah, but it never goes on sale either. That's a weird one. That, like,
sometimes those big names feel like they don't need to go on sale sometimes. Important says, is it different to Pop 1? I think you covered there that it is pretty different. Like, it's practically a clone of Warzone, except in virtual reality.
Yeah.
But it's got cool virtual reality. Like, I like the way when you revive someone, you actually have to stab them with the syringe and hold it there for a little while.
Hold it for a few seconds, yeah. And you have trinkets on your guns. You actually have
I
trinkets
saw that too.
on your gun.
And the gun skins are fucking sick too, dude.
Remember those?
Chinese tiger ones? Trinkets are cool. And the way that you heal yourself with the bandage is cool.
Yeah.
A lot of cool shit.
All the things that I was seeing, all the attachments that I saw you putting on your guns, I didn't see you ever have a silencer. Can you actually find a silencer and put it on the top of your gun like a silencer?
Yeah, you have suppressors, and what's cool about it is, like, I don't know if you noticed, right? I had the ACOG 4x scope, right?
Oh, you twisted it.
Well, that was the 8x, I think. The 8x you can twist it and you can zoom
and it zooms in. Yeah, that was impressive. That was
not
impressive.
only that,
cool.
Every single, like, let's say a red dot's right. They might not be a zoom. It just might be a red dot. But you can also do what? Holographic, right? There's a couple different variations. I don't know fucking how you call them because I don't know about guns. But you can unlock those. So the one that is a 4x, there's different variations of that 4x. There's one that's a 4x, but it has a red dot on top. And you can unlock those, and you can select loadouts. That means that every time you find, let's say, an AK-47, you can pick what skin is going to be in the AK-47, what trinket, and if you find a 4x scope, is the scope that you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So it's like saying that's the couple stuff that we've learned so far. I think there's a lot more into it, but I like that you can select all that different shit and the zoom in. When I saw the zoom in, I was like, holy fuck, dude, and it works pretty good.
That looks, it does look good.
That was slick.
So it's like you do have a loadout, but you have to like find your loadout once you're on the ground. Like once you find your gun, then you have like your loadout waiting for you, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty.
LSP says Contractor Showdown is the closest you can get to playing Call of Duty Warzone in VR. Indeed, it is. Important says I'm with Muzz. Battlefield is greater than Battle Royale. Donnie says I've seen people wreck teams of 3 solo in Contractors, so shrug. Yeah, but that still doesn't mean they're not at an unfair disadvantage. Like 3 is always going to have a better chance against 1, even if somebody can beat 3 people. I just hope that when that, I don't know if Jackpot doesn't seem to know himself. Like when you were playing Contractors, were you like in a team of 3? Were you up against people who were in teams of 3s, or were you mixed in with solos and shit?
They mixed it because when I tried it by myself, I played with solos. Well, what do you want? You want to beat a solo and then nobody's there because there's not enough people.
Well, just do solos then. Just do solos for the beta, or just do duos or something like that. Then, like this mixed up shit. Like you're not gonna have a good time if you're being creamed by fucking teams constantly.
Well, get friends, bitch. You know, invite somebody. Go on their Discord.
But then they should like force you. Like if it's just 3s, then force you to be with 2 other randoms. You know.
I think it would be cool, yes. If you are solo, you go to start match, and it will match you with fucking other randoms that don't have any players.
If you want to go away from them and don't play with them, then that's fine. But at least you have the option to team up with them.
But that's an easy patch, you know, relax. All right,
I'm relaxed. Donnie says, damn the D-Day hate from Canada. I'd rather Contractors on PSVR2, or more like, please. Elephant Trap says it's pretty good so far. Upgraded Quest game with fantastic haptics. Yes, that was one of the games where like they showed the Quest version and then the PS2 version. I was like, wow, look at all the extra fucking vegetation and shit. Tapo, you're not having me lighter, says Rogue. Give us your lighter, you can't.
Raise up lights.
Don't be so stingy with your lighter, mate. You're always so stingy with your lighter, mate. Trev says pumps volume is a tad louder than the rest. Okay, let me turn that down a little bit.
Damn.
See if that's better. Let me know how that is. LSB says the original Contractors game is also very good. I've heard that was kind of on par with like I don't know, something like Breachers or games like that. Onward maybe. Donnie says the armor plates, scopes that zoom in, different types of vending machines for different shit, map size, etc, etc, etc. And then drooling face. Chaos is here. How you doing, Chaos? Says my grandmother was Irish, so I just got my Ireland citizenship. Just bought a house in Craignamanagh. I think he just jumbled up a few words there and stuck it in. Pumpkin,
totally
you're going to meet me for a pint when I get there. It could be real though. It just has one or two more syllables than I'd be used to. Ray says they did do solos at the start of the beta. They also did teams only. So what happened then? At the end, they just mixed them.
There we go.
They should have kept us. Like they should keep alternated that way instead of do the weird random things where you're mixing them together.
Maybe there's not enough people like you and more people like me, and they're like, well, we don't want to cater to you because there's only two of you.
Just doesn't make
sense.
All these people. You're just gonna put people off. Like people playing solos to come up against a team of three.
I agree.
F it. It's okay, says Chairface. Okay, well I dropped it down a couple of decibels. Let me. You're saying it's okay, so I'm just going to believe you. If anyone else has an issue with the volume, let me know. Contractors was kind of in between Onward and something like Firewall, says Rogue. It's a beta. They're changing it up for server testing. I understand changing from one to the other. I just don't understand mixing them. Mixing the solos with the teams. That just doesn't make any sense for me at all. Tested or not. Anyway.
Gotta try everything, I guess.
Anyway. Must I ask you what you were playing?
Well, I was trying to play Helldivers, but like I was telling you guys earlier, that the crossplay is broken, trying to add friends from different platforms. So I didn't play much on my first time, or my first evening after I bought it, which kind of sucked. So I went back to playing some more Legendary Tales, which I am getting further into.
Nice.
Really
Very
fun.
nice.
Really fun.
We will be talking a little bit about Legendary Tales later on as well.
We need to play more of it.
But our first topic will not be about Legendary Tales. Our first topic is about Bloomberg and the PSVR2 and their report,
Doom.
which is bad news for PSVR2. All right. Listen, let me just get into it a little bit and then we'll talk about it. I'll try and read it out. Okay, so according to Takashi Mochizuki, he writes for Bloomberg. Now, if you remember this guy's name, this guy is a bit infamous. So he says Sony have stopped production of PSVR2s as they want to sell through piled up inventory in the production pipeline. So you think to yourselves, well, this is from Bloomberg. They're a well-respected organization. This is a journalist who's working with them for years. But you look at his history. He has a history of spreading some bad news about Sony and about PlayStation in particular, and then Sony coming out a few days later saying, "Well, that's not true," denying these claims. So you got to take this one with a bit of salt. You have to take this with a bit. Well, maybe we shouldn't believe Sony. I don't know. Maybe this guy has the inside scoop, and Sony are just lying. But they don't usually do that. When people leak something, they kind of just stay quiet, which is what they've been doing since this news came out. They haven't addressed this at all yet, which makes me think maybe it's true. Plus, when you add up all the other things we know, like the Amazon sales, how they're really, really low. It does sound plausible that they've got more stock than they can sell, and making more now is not beneficial for them until they can move what they have already. But it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. So he cites his sources are, according to people familiar with the matter. That's how he quotes it. He also claims that Sony have produced 2 million units so far. Other people have disputed this as well, I think, so I don't know how true that is. But yeah, how would you take this news if it's, let's just pretend hypothetically that he's right. Sony have stopped production 13 months after the PSVR2 has launched. How would you look at that?
I think that we're probably looking at a price decrease sooner than later, if that's the case.
Okay.
Maybe this holiday season it goes on sale, or not on sale. It has a price drop sometime in the fall, I guess.
Is that not too far away?
I think they should do it sooner, but I mean, I think maybe in the fall, like getting closer to holidays season, they might have like a reduced price. Like,
I mean,
they gotta do. They gotta. If this is the case and they have to halt production because nothing's selling, then you gotta sell them. You gotta drop the price, so you can't just sit on merchandise and.
But isn't the PC thing like their answer to this? Maybe, even though I think it's the wrong answer. But like, you don't. No, not answer, but their attempted solution to try and get rid of some of this backed up stock.
It depends. We don't
because they saw this coming. Like.
Yeah, but we don't even know what the extent of this PC thing is. Like, they haven't explained that enough yet for us to know. So, if it's the best case scenario, with the working on PC, and we get to play everything that's on Steam, and we can play Half-Life Alyx and all that stuff, that will move more VR headsets, obviously, but not enough if they're this desperate that they have to like shut off production because it's just stockpiling on them. Then they still have to do a price decrease, even with the PC compatibility.
Well, I agree. I agree. But the
whether
thing
it's
is,
$50 or $100, like, it has to come down in price.
The thing is, when they start selling to people, like when this, look, nobody knows for sure if they're selling this at a profit or a loss, but some people think they're selling this already at a loss because of the tech that's in it already. You know, it's got the OLED HDR screen, it has the eye tracking, which is super expensive, and like the index is like twice the price.
It doesn't have its own power source though, so there's some cost like decrease there because it doesn't have like batteries.
Well, when you compare it to a Quest, yes, but like when you compare it to like an Index or something like that, which also doesn't have its own power source, like it's still like way cheaper. So they're already like I think the Index is the only other one that has eye tracking, isn't it?
No,
I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
But like the Quest Pro, I think, has eye tracking.
Yeah, but like as a PC viewer headset, I mean, like something that's not standalone. Okay. But also, I suppose that proves the point as well, that makes it super expensive. I could be wrong, but from what I heard, like whatever the comparable headset is to PSVR2 on PC is like twice, like $1,000 by itself. So when you're selling to PC, and let's say you're already selling at a loss, you're not making money on the software because your games aren't, you know, like Steam are making money because people are buying Half-Life Alyx or whatever. Sony's not seeing a cent of that. So it makes you wonder if they can cut the price. Like, surely that would have been the first move. Price cut.
It's because like it's fucking weird because we're talking about the PlayStation VR2. Let's say before it comes out, right? Then the fucking meeting. Hey, we want to do. Here you go, sir. We want to do a fucking PSVR2. Okay, fuck. Well, you know, we're gonna sell it at a good price. Now it's gonna be $600. All right. Well, fuck. At least we're gonna have really fucking good games, like a fuckload of good exclusives. No, just a few. All right. Well, we have backwards compatibility. No, we don't have that shit. It's like, okay, we have to then do really fucking good marketing if we want to fucking sell this shit at $600, and they don't do any marketing, right? So at this point, like, we're talking about.
They're failing at every aspect, basically.
We don't know. Obviously, maybe we're just fucking smooth brains and we're just talking out of our ass, and these guys know what they're doing, right? But for me, it looks fucking stupid the way that they're doing things. So we're talking about now what they can do, and I think you guys are saying is what they should fucking do that. They should drop the price. I think they should drop the price of course, right now, but they're not gonna do that. Realistically, when like Muzz says by Christmas time, whatever, and by that time, hopefully they have a fucking more of an idea of what the computer PC thing is going to be. And then the good thing about that is, in my opinion, let's say you fucking go into the office. What do you need to do? You drop the price. Best case scenario, like Muzz says, $400, $450 if you want to fucking stretch it. And then not only that, you're going to sell this to the PC people and say, hey, you can play all these games. Use it as kind of like a Quest, right? You plug it into the PC with this adapter, whatever the fuck it is. And you can use this, and you don't need a super beefy computer because the developers are going to use the eye tracking that we have in our headset forever to use the fucking rendering thing on the eye. So you don't need this beefy ass fucking computer. You can, you know what I mean, right? Yeah. So there's many ways that they can attract people, and even better if somehow they have their own store or they can bring the exclusive PSVR 2 games to the PC, and that will be, I think all that together will fucking be the thing that can make them the money. But again, I don't know, maybe they're just fucking are way smarter than us, probably, but it just doesn't make sense to me what they're fucking doing.
The only thing about cutting the
Well-
price to like 400 or 450, like let's say it already is at a loss, like that's going to be really hard for them to do, especially when their games aren't on PC. So they're selling it to PC where they're not making any money back. So let's say they sold 1 million headsets on PC for PC gamers, and they're in a loss because they're already taking a loss. Like that's not sustainable for them either. They can't do that unless they do what you said there, where like they get their storefront on PCs, get like Gran Turismo and Horizon and those games, so they can actually start making money back on software. Shut your mouth, bitch. But they need to do that if they want to make money back on PC. So that's why I don't see a price cut coming, because it's coming to PC.
Unless, we don't know if they're selling at like we have no idea if it's selling at a loss now or not. So
That's true. That is true. But just from what people are saying, it's like really expensive to have the eye tracking.
But if this article is true, and if they're not doing any more production because they're halting or pausing or whatever the fuck because they have a bunch in there, wouldn't it make more sense for them to be like, oh, let's sell these laws and get all these fucking headsets, and maybe we create more of, okay, these people in PC, they want to get this shit and we can get production going somehow, or let's just not cut the price because we're gonna maybe get a loss and not fucking sell anything. I think it's the smarter thing we'll do to just take the fucking loss and at least try to go that way instead of just keeping fucking the piles of headsets just stored in a fucking container or whatever.
Unless they pull the plug internally, they're like, you know what, we'll sell these and that'll be us. We'll wind down, we'll sunset, as we started saying the last couple of weeks. We'll sunset the headsets, be very quiet, maybe keep it in the background. If the PS6 comes out, we might try it again or something like that. But I mean, there's a lot. It feels like there's a lot of different things. Like at Sony themselves, they seem to have like different people making different decisions that are clashing with each other. So it's like hard to know if they're all going in the one direction. If you know what I mean.
They certainly don't seem like they're like really in it for like a big fight to like really be aggressive to make this headset like the one that you need to buy, which.
Except for year one, like in terms of software, again, because people will say, oh, they have great games year one. They had 100%. I'm not saying they didn't. And none of us are saying they didn't. But it's just like going forward now.
Going forward, what are we going to see from them? Yeah, I mean, we're still, like, the most annoying thing is, like, we're still so early in VR. And it's kind of like the Wild West. Like, what do you bring to the table before anyone else? Like, who's going to make the first, like, big thing that everybody needs to play? And like Sony just doesn't, like Sony has the teams that could be like focus on like look at what's popular in video games like Fortnite, all the battle royale games. Get like a talented team to make like what I'm saying is Sony should have made Contractor Showdown before Contractor Showdown was made.
100%.
Like Sony should have been on top of that from like right from the get-go. Like we need to make this kind of game, make it really good quality,
instead of
Horizon. And everybody would want to play our VR headset because this is where you can play this awesome game. That's what that's what their mindset should have been. But all these other small studios are like beating like a big Sony name to the punch on all these different things. Like, and Sony's just sitting there like, okay, well, no one wants to buy our headset, so.
And also, like games like VR Chat, when they have like PlayStation Home, they had that before anyone did. Like before VR Chat, before what was it? Probably after Second Life. I can't remember Second Life. Whenever that came out, that was a long time ago. But it's perfect. PSVR2 is perfect for the social stuff. They have PlayStation Home sitting there. They could redo that, bring it back from the grave, and launch it again. But no.
A team like Guerrilla, like instead of making Horizon, like Guerrilla knows first-person shooters. They've made like Killzone. Like get them to make a freaking battle royale game in VR. Imagine how awesome a game that could have been. Like a Guerrilla made battle royale VR game.
Yeah,
Would have
would've
been
sick.
like, it would have.
Like even if they kept it in the Killzone universe, like a Killzone Battle Royale or whatever, that
Doesn't
would've been
matter.
sick as hell, yeah.
Anything. They just know how to make shooters because they've done it for years. So like just let them do a VR one, and it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But no.
Although, in fairness to them, when like they picked Horizon, because I think like the Horizon franchise sold way more than Killzone ever did for them, so
Yeah,
they probably saw it as, oh, this is a
But
big
they
IP.
didn't-
I know it's
but
not the same thing.
Look at
It wasn't-
Ghostbusters.
Like
IP
I
doesn't
didn't hate
get
the
a
I
good
didn't
name.
hate the game, but it obviously was a flop overall. Like it's not the standout
Not a
big thing
system
that they
seller.
needed.
Not a system seller like it's
Not a
supposed to
system.
be.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like the new big like Half-Life Alyx play game. It didn't turn out to be that way.
Mhm.
But what they needed was that kind of big draw in for lots of people to like play together, like a battle royale, because everybody like that's the hot thing right now. How do you not like do that first
I don't know.
if you're Sony?
I don't know. It seems like
They got
Or a
lizard
Battlefield
people in
Battlefield
there.
game, or try to make a Battlefield like
or make a deal
Or
with
that. Make a deal with DICE and get them to like port a
too
battle
much
royale
money.
game.
yeah,
Too much money. They're bitches. They will never spend that much.
probably would have cost them a lot. In fairness,
Maybe Zuckerberg
Oh.
has some infiltrating fucking people in there, sabotaging the PSVR2 decisions,
But what do they have? What's their like? This is like what's their claim? Like buy our PlayStation VR2 headset. It's the only place you can.
Gran
what?
Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7.
Well, that's true, but
That's sick as
you
hell.
have like, Gran
It looks
Turismo's
really
great.
pretty.
Resident Evil
Minecraft-
4, Resident Evil
I
8.
love-
Minecraft
love-
and AK. Look,
I love Gran
Yeah,
Turismo, but you
talking
can
that
play like 4 or 5 really good racing games on PC as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you have a good racing game, but you're not the only good racing game. That's my thing. So we can play Resident Evil, the 2 Resident Evil games. I guess you have
Yeah.
Resident Evil 8 and Resident Evil 4.
Mhm.
You can play Resident Evil 4 on PC, but it's not as the updated version. So like a little.
All right, but we're getting into the dark waters here, which is the same place IGN went. When they made that article, it's like, well, these games you can play them on PC, which I don't think is a fair thing. Like Gran Turismo 7, I think is probably, well, I can't say that because I haven't played any PC viewer racing games, but I imagine it's up there as among like one of the best. It's still getting updates constantly. It's like well supported.
Oh yeah.
Because it's hybrid.
Probably one of the best.
I'm not
but
taking
there's
anything away
options
from
on the PC. It's not like, oh my god, if I want to play a racing game or a really good racing game, I'm fucked unless I buy a PSVR 2. I think the must thing is like, hey, okay, I don't have Gran Turismo or whatever, but I have fucking 4 other really good games that
Yeah, but let's say Sony did do Killzone Battle Royale. Then, like by this logic, you could say, well, there's Battle Royale VR games on PC. There's Pop 1, there's Contractors, there's probably a few others I'm not thinking of right now.
But they could have been the first to do it. That's what I'm saying. Like these guys come in and make Contractor Showdown and Population 1 before Sony even tried any of
it's
it.
like Firewall Zero Hour, like Muzz says. That was the shit, and that was a game that everybody was like Rainbow Six Siege, right? A lot of people liked that shit, and there was
but it wasn't
nothing
good
really
enough.
else.
It wasn't good enough for Sony to follow it up with like a bigger and better thing right away. They just let Firewall run, and it was popular. But they didn't like say like, okay, let's do something else and make a bigger, better shooter.
You mean on
They just
PSVR
don't do
1?
enough. Yeah, or anything. Like what did they follow up Firewall with? They didn't. They didn't do anything else. That was it. And then PlayStation VR2 comes out, and they just try Firewall again, and then they kill it. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, Sony. I feel
That's,
Sony fucked up this. They did something
yeah.
to them because it was weird. No beta, no nothing. It was weird.
Let me try and catch up on some comments. Where the fuck was I? Bloomberg Bollocks says, Movemaster Mick. Chaos says, thoughts on Arizona Sunshine 2. I might pick it up this week. I'm still waiting for a sale. You boys have played it though, haven't you?
Nope.
No? Was it you? Arizona Sunshine 2?
Nope, haven't played it yet.
Oh, I don't know who the fuck.
LSB has.
I know who I was talking to, someone that had played it, and they were saying, yeah, it was pretty good. Yep, let's pack it in and go home, says Elephant Trap. Arizona is fun, but a bit overpriced. Salt taken, says Danny. I'm trying to get away from the Arizona Sunshine comments because they're not related to me. Fozzie says, I seem to remember Sony saying they made 2 million. They could have. I don't think they officially said that. There might have been reports of it, but I don't know if that's true or not. Because I do remember this same guy said that Sony cut production of PSVR2s before it even launched, based on pre-order numbers that they were getting in, which they denied. Important says they might as well call it the Sony Virtual Boy at this point. Let's say it is 2 million though. How long did it take PSVR 1 to sell 2 million? I think it might have already done it by now.
Can we compare? Because there's different time frames. I feel like right now VR is more popular than back in the day. So if the sales are not even close to before, then it makes it even worse because
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like this is why I'm so worried about PSVR 2 right now, is because it seems to be doing worse than PSVR 1 even, if you can believe these things we're hearing. And as long as Sony don't come out and clarify things or give us a sale update or whatever, then we're going to keep having reason to doubt it. Elephant Trap says, as far as I remember, the 2 million was the amount of units they were hoping to sell in the first 2 years. That's what I read. That seems low, doesn't it, for 2 years? When I think they did 2 million in like 14 months for PSVR 1, so you'd imagine they would be hoping for it to do better than that. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. Shane Humberstone is there. How are you doing, Shane? Price drop and give more percentage of revenue to game sales back to the devs to make it more attractive all around. I think Viveport are doing something like that. They've changed their the cut so that developers get 90% instead of the 70% they usually get. So that would encourage more developers to go to PSVR 2. Maybe the contractors, developers would like something like that. LSB says there's no way to save PSVR 2. It's already too late. He could be right. There's so much negativity around us in the mainstream, you know. When IGN are putting articles out like this, and Bloomberg are putting out articles like this now, it's like that's what the mainstream see. Mainstream isn't watching Petrifying Pumpkins or PSVR Without Parole or any other VR centered thing. They're watching mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they believe it's a failure. And then it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And all the really big YouTuber names are not good on VR either. So
yeah, they don't care. I think it's like that Jacksepticeye fellow who's Irish. He does seem to play VR. He's the only big one I can think of off the top of my head.
He plays the horror games on VR a lot.
Shane says, if Sony throw us all under the bus, then we need to organize a class action lawsuit. They've basically robbed us all. I don't think we would be able to. I'm sure there's a small print. Sorry, go on.
The only way that they can turn it around is Sony has to step in and just bite the bullet, and they have to just risk it. They have to risk making some big titles, and if it fails, it fails. But they have money. They can't.
But they're snakes, Muzz. They're snakes. They're never going to do that. If they don't even want to spend, $5 for marketing, do you think they're really like, hey, let's fucking put a couple mil, 5-10 mil over here for
why not? Why not?
Because they're bitches. I agree with you.
But they invested so much into the headset. It's worth the gamble to try to turn it around and shut all these idiots up about there not being games coming out from Sony.
If they did that now, if they decided okay, we're going to make a big battle royale game or whatever, that's going to be 3 or 4 years away before it actually comes out. So by then, is it too late? These things need to already be in development, and if they are, they need to tell us about them.
Right.
But it feels like
they're not. What do you mean by too late? Do you mean they're gonna
if there's no first party support for the next 3 years until this hypothetical battle royale game comes out, it's over by then, we're done.
I think it's over. Listen, I think we're gonna get there's still the good games I think Resident Evils. We're gonna continue to get good VR games.
Well, if we continue to get the Resident Evil stuff, then that's fine.
We will.
We do, but I don't think we will. Or at least we're not seeing signs of it.
But fucking dude, those devs that we get Resident Evil, I don't think they're gonna stop. Why would they stop?
Yeah,
These
but how
fucking
long?
games.
That's Capcom. We can't just rely on like one
I'm not saying
franchise
relying.
that
No,
will
no,
come
no,
out
no,
once
no,
every
no.
few years.
What I'm saying is, well, listen, buddy. We gotta be playing catch up because I told you this before the PSVR2 came out. You're gonna be having a couple exclusives, couple good games, and then just the same games that come on the PC. We're gonna do the testing on the PC, and eventually you're gonna get the scraps, right? And that's what we've seen. Fucking all these games, nobody's supporting the actual developer, so we can get an actual exclusive more than what we're already getting. And like you said, there's no news, there's no signs of anything, literally anything, not big, not small that I can think of, you know. And so I think, like I said, I think it's gonna be the same shit the next couple
But
of
you
years.
keep saying like the
Here and
same shit.
there,
But if it's the same as year one, then I'm happy. Like if year two is the same as year one, that's great. If year three is the same as year one, that's great too. Like we've had a really good year one.
I don't think it's gonna be as good as year one though.
But
But
that's my
I think
worry
it's
as well.
gonna
I think it's getting worse. Like there's no signs of more big Capcom style AAA titles. Like when's the next Gran Turismo gonna be? Another 5 years maybe.
never.
You know, God
Never.
knows. PS6, probably a PS6 game. Chairface says
So why
PS.
would you want another? Sorry, why would you want another Gran Turismo? We need like musts. We need something new. We need something.
Yeah, but I'm just
Yeah.
giving like an example of like how quickly these developers can actually pump out these games. Like you have to wait years for the big
Yeah.
ones, you know.
But at least if they commit and like announce, like
Yeah,
we're making these 3 games that are all going to be amazing.
yeah.
At least that gives us like, okay, great. We'll have something to look forward to, right?
They do that in PS5. Like they announced Wolverine like fucking 2 years ago. It's not coming out for another
Yeah.
3 years or something. And what was
Exactly.
Concord? That weird Concord game. They announced. Remember Deviation Games? They didn't even announce what the game was. They're like, oh, we've teamed up with Deviation Studios, and now apparently they're gone under. They're just cancelled. But why are they announcing these things that don't even actually come out and they get cancelled, but they won't say anything about PSVR
Because
2
there's
games in
nothing on
development?
PSVR 2
That's the
happening.
problem. That's the problem. That's the worry. You know,
So I'm saying it's over.
that's
It's
the worry.
until I
Because they
get a
got
Quest.
nothing to say. I'm not selling this. I'm not getting a Quest. Chairface says PSVR 1 was quite expensive to begin with. Then they dropped the price big style. But see, with PSVR 1, that was before the Quest came out. So everyone was like, oh, what's the cheapest way to get into VR? It was the PSVR 1 because there was no Quest. And that was like a massive benefit for PSVR 1. The PSVR 2 does not have that benefit because the Quest 2 exists.
Yep.
PSVR 2 is a good headset, says LSB. Makes you wonder if console VR is dying. Well, you say console VR, like there's nobody else doing console VR, so you're just saying PSVR 2 is dying.
PSVR 2 is dying. Basically, yeah.
Scrap the PS5 Pro and focus on PSVR 2, Sony, says MoveMaster. Make the, like, from a business point of view, like the PS5 Pro will sell 100 times more than the PSVR 2 sells. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but like they won't do that. Or is VR just dying in general, says LSB? Good question.
Nope.
Good question. Chairface says, won't it be effed up if PSVR 1 ends up outselling PSVR 2? That seems to be the way it's going right now.
Good.
That seems to be how it is.
Which is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I can't believe VR is still.
You have to imagine there won't be a PSVR 3 if that happens. Like Sony will have to be like, okay, we tried. We did give it 2 generations, even though we didn't try as hard as we could, obviously. But we've thrown in the towel.
It's over.
Important says we're not early in VR. We're almost 10 years in. Elephant Trap says, I think the live service crap fall can cost PSVR 2. Wouldn't surprise me yet. But think all those games they cancel, all that money they put in. Imagine if they pumped it into PSVR 2 games instead.
We're still early. We're still early in VR. Look at the start of video games. 10 years into video games, that was still early into video games.
That's true.
So for VR, this is still early in VR.
MoveMaster makes his whole of gaming industry is a mess right now. That is true. LSB says the thirst is strong. Donnie says, I know Sony owns studios, but do they have a say on what said studio makes, or is it up to the studio? I think, like, obviously Sony have to, like, they pitch the games to Sony, and Sony have to greenlight it. Although there is some cases where Sony will say, look, we want another Uncharted game. We want you to do it. in the case of, I think, Bend Studio, they said, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We want to make our own game. And they listened to them. So they do give them like some kind of creative freedom, but like it's not completely free, you know? Days Gone 2, for example, they wanted to make Days Gone 2 and so I'm like, no, first one wasn't good enough. Beat it. Important says Gran Turismo 7 is far better than anything racing on PC. Well, there you go. I have to take your word for it because I don't play anything on PC.
I agree. The racing games on PC are for like the hardcore like F1 racing fans and like Assetto Corsa.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Assetto Corsa. Like, why is that not really good? I thought that was like a really good game.
It is, but it's very like sim, like racing, like real tracks. Like it's not like you don't race like Hondas and like, you know, those kind of cars. It's all like really specific like racing.
Okay.
And it's probably more simulation too, more realistic.
It's more simulation and very hardcore like racing fans kind of thing.
But there's options on the PC, right? People are not gonna jump into, you know, PlayStation VR2 because of Gran Turismo. If, like I said, you have a PC, it's like you have many options there. They're not, maybe for some people the best option, maybe the best option. The same like fucking for me, Pavlov. It was crazy after playing it for a long time on the PC and then play it on the PSVR2 when it came out. And it's such a different game, in my opinion, with the feedback on the controllers and all that shit. But again, there's a lot of options in the PC, so I don't think it's a big enough excuse for people to get a headset.
All right, Elephant Trap, and I turned my mic down. I just realized that you were right, Chairface. That I had it up. I had the setting for this one, you know, which I boost a lot because it's quieter. So I forgot to turn this one down a lot. So sorry about that if I was like super loud and breaking your ears. Elephant Trap says Switchback VR. Yes, Switchback was a good one that they got. Unfortunately, the game itself didn't turn out to be, you know, maybe the sequel people hoped for. Even now, like, people would probably say Rush of Blood is better. The better game, maybe. I could be wrong.
No, I think it's a really good game. Now, once they fixed it and made the foveated rendering work on it, it's a great game. Okay. Just they just didn't do it in time, and everybody.
The damage is done.
Yeah, no one went back to it, unfortunately.
Bloomberg Blue Ball says Chairface. Alt Action, how you doing? He says, yo guys, remember I told you I got another VR2 again recently? Well, I sent it back to Sony direct for a refund, mostly because Helldivers 2 lol. Also, all this negativity surrounding it recently. Damn. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm still happy that I bought my PSVR2 just with the year one offerings. I think it was worth it, but obviously I want it to be successful enough for Sony to do with PSVR3, but the way it's gone, it doesn't seem that that's the way it is. Important says they need to pay a AAA multiplayer shooter to have flat and VR crossplay.
Yes.
The problem with that though is like you're gonna have people whinging that there's an unfair advantage. Like the way it is now with like crossplay with PC, where they got the mouse and keyboard and controllers, people whinging about that already.
Who cares? Do it anyway. Do it anyway.
LSP
once you start mixing it, that's how you get people to realize how awesome VR is, when you're on the same playing field and you see your teammate like moving their gun around freely and you're just stuck in like a static position. And you're like, well, I can't do it.
Yeah, No Man's Sky as well.
Yeah, some dude we're playing
online. Yeah, No Man's Sky. Yeah, No Man's Sky. It's a mix, right? You can see someone like, I can wave at somebody and they just stare at me because they can't move with their hand, or they have like a emote that they can do.
They're all stiff as shit.
Yeah,
the characters are all stiff, and you can like move your arms around. Like,
you jealous bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think like if it seems like common knowledge or common sense that like hybrid is the way to go. Like we've been saying this for a long time. We thought that this is the way Sony was going to go, and Resident Evil and Gran Turismo, and they've kind of proved that that's like really successful, and that's what people want. But it doesn't seem to be going that way. Elephant Trap says PS5 Pro and PSVR2 with GTA 6 in 2025. We can dream. Goddamn. No, don't even dream about it. You're just going to hurt everyone. Dylan says it's over. Back to flat games we go. Dan's flip flopping like crazy over here. What about Firewall Ultra, Dan? What happened?
He's done with it.
Chairface says
his crew broke up. The Cowboys broke up.
It's gone back in time. They got back in time to the Old West. Chairface says we need to start a GoFundMe for Capcom to make another VR game. Yeah. fucking Rockstar. Let's get them in it. Never mind Capcom. Let's get some GTAs and Red Dead Redemptions in VR, please. Dan says, I still think the economy has something to do with it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
With the lack of game announcements, I think Sony has seen that people aren't spending as much on games. Plus, Sony have like gone. They've had to do a 180. They went hard into the live service stuff, and they saw like the backlash. It's like people were not happy with that, so they cancelled like a bunch of their games. So like those studios are starting from scratch.
And all the firings, like so many game developers are losing their jobs left and right over the past like several months. So it's like all around the gaming industry is hurting, not just VR. So I guess as niche as a VR audience is, it's probably expected that we're going to be struggling pretty hard in these kind of gaming times.
Yeah. Well, gamers are the most oppressed people on this earth. Important says, well, technically we're 50 years in on VR if going back all the way. I mean, that depends on how you define VR, I suppose.
If you're counting the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, this shit. Was that shit just like, I didn't even know what that is. I assume it was just like a bunch of lines on a screen. You had to, you couldn't move your head. Like you had to sit in front of it and put your face to it. Like it wouldn't attach to your head.
Yeah, it's just like a vector kind of vector-based screen, red and black. It only could do red color. And,
very cool, very cool. Fozzie says, I think if they just did crossover between flat and VR games, the ones that are possible would be enough. I think so too. But I like listen. It's one thing for Sony to approach them. For all we know, they've gone to Rockstar, they've gone to all these developers and asked them to do this, but these developers just aren't interested. We know that Capcom, they actually had like VR fans there. They wanted it, so there was like the stars aligned basically. Sony wanted this, they wanted this, so it worked out. But that doesn't mean that it works out that way for the other studios, you know.
Yeah.
Important says, assess a course that doesn't have the same detail and graphical realism. Damn, get blown the fuck out, PC gamers. If V2 of Apple Vision Pro doesn't catch on, we're going to hear a lot of comparisons of VR with 3D TVs.
I feel like playing Gran Turismo right now.
Why does that game not win the vote more often?
I don't know.
Movemaster makes us Squadrons was the envy of the flat gamers. Man, Squadrons was good.
Yep.
But Squadrons was a hybrid as well.
Yep.
Yeah. They fucking killed that game. They could have made that game like fucking popular. And no, we're not gonna support anything about this game anymore. Here you go. But
they said that at launch. They're like, we're not. It's not a live service game.
Saying.
It was only €40. I think they were expecting like a good response to that. Like people were kind of sick of like, oh, it's a live service game. We have to buy updates every few months and shit like that.
You don't have to buy shit. Just give us free updates like the fucking like Firewall.
Why are you communist? That's communist talk. Why are you such a communist?
No.
Great Tantrum says
Helldivers.
He plays Helldivers. He's proof that he's not a communist. He plays Helldivers.
Capitalist. Bloomberg is a religion, a cult, where anti-viewer goons go to and preach its message regardless of how lame and wrong their articles are. This is Great Tantrum.
That's where
racist.
That's where the blame ultimately lies. Is just the majority of people out there that don't realize how awesome VR is yet. Still, like they still are not trying to get on board with VR. Whether it's because they don't have the money or they're just ignorant.
They still think it's gimmick. A lot of them are like, oh, it's just a gimmick. It's a fad. Even though it's got it's here for 10 years, as Important said.
It's mind blowing that so many people aren't into VR yet. Yeah. It's like so good. VR is it's so damn good, and it's so irritating that so many people are still hating on it,
Jack,
even though it's so.
Say something wrong. Go on, say something wrong there, Jackpot.
No, it's Muzz. Like we have proof right here. It's Pumpkins' attitude. His attitude, I keep telling him, there was a point that LSB was going to send him a free Quest 2. He's like, no, I don't want that shit because that's not 2004. I don't want no shit graphics. Yes,
it's a good
Instead
answer.
of saying, all right,
the PSVR2 about to drop. Next generation. I've played Gran Turismo 7. I've played Resident Evil 4 and 8. I know what current VR is capable of. You can't ask me to go back.
It's not about going back.
It is.
You can play your fucking fancy 4K Minecraft about hitting a couple blocks and shooting firecrackers out of rangers' asses or whatever that game is about.
Yeah.
And you can
That's
also
about
have
it.
all
That
the
sums it up.
Jealous. He's
You
jealous. It's
can
his long
also-
quest. He's jealous.
You can also do all the other shit on the quest. My point is that those people, like the Moss is saying, they say, in my opinion, we hear the same complaints. Fucking bullshit experiences. It's not a full real game. There's only like 1 or 2 full games. Oh, the graphics look like shit. Compare to my 4K fucking monitor
No.
on my PC.
Compared to my
Yes.
PSVR2 game. Compared to my PSVR2
Shut up.
exclusive, it looks like shit.
It's your fault.
That's the
Your fault,
comparison.
your
And that's a
attitude.
realistic comparison. They're both in the same generation. They're both competing with each other. So look, I see Apple, and I compare them.
Listen, I get what you're saying, but that's what they're saying. People say, "Oh, this."
Yeah, but that's not
thing
what I'm
sucks.
doing.
Why do I wanna-"
You're saying it's the same thing I'm doing. I'm not doing that.
It's the same thing you're
It's
doing.
not. It is not.
Yeah, you're
They're
making
comparing
excuses for
flat
something dumb.
4K games to like a Quest game. You know, obviously that's stupid. I wouldn't do that. But I would.
I would gladly play worse visuals in a VR to play the same game as like the better graphics on a flat screen game any day.
Well, that's what we're
Just
doing. Like
because-
even let's say Cube, for example, is a beautiful game.
Yeah.
But it's still not
Yeah.
as nice as a flat game on a PS5. You know, it still doesn't look as good.
But it's
But
not
it-
only about it, but not for everybody. It's all about the graphics. For a
That's
lot,
not what
for
I'm saying
most
either.
people,
That's not
believe
what
it
I'm
or
saying
not, it's about the games.
But I'm
And if
saying
you
I
can
am
have-
sacrificing. When I'm playing PSVR2, I still am sacrificing. Resident Evil 4 looks amazing, but it still doesn't look as good as it does flat. Like it looks better flat. You know,
Right.
Well,
you're losing.
but
things.
you
You're
get,
losing
but
ray
you get
tracing
so much,
in games.
but
you're
you get
losing-
such a better game experience.
But
when
that's
you're
yeah,
in
exactly.
VR,
That's
though.
why I love it. So yeah,
It's-
you're
yeah.
trying to tell me I'm all about the graphics.
And
I'm
it's-
saying no, I'm not. I'm playing these games in VR because I love the
And I
VR
can't.
aspect.
And
Well,
I
then
still
why
can't
don't you
get
get a
over that.
free
So many
Quest?
people don't agree.
Say it again, sorry.
Why don't you get a free quest? Why don't you get a free quest? the
Because
graphics.
I have another headset to compare to. Like it's not flat and VR I'm comparing. It's VR
But you
and
can
VR.
compare because here you play Resident Evil, all these games, and here you play the games that you can't play on your PlayStation. So you have both things. Oh, I can't play Contractors, right? Okay, now I play Contractors. I look kind of like shit. I wish we had it on the PlayStation. When it comes to the PlayStation, I'll play it on the PlayStation because that's the better place to play. But at least
Just
you
wait
have
for us to come
the other
PlayStation,
games.
You know.
Okay,
I'll just
well, you're
wait.
gonna wait for until you're dead
That's
because
fine. That's
fucking
fine.
at this point.
I've been waiting.
You
I've been
know?
waiting for Phasmophobia, and I'm going to be rewarded with that any day now.
No,
Any
the state that the
day
game is
Any
out, buddy.
day.
The game that this
Any
thing is
day.
at, you're not gonna get.
That game
rewarded.
is supposed to come out in August. It's
messy.
coming out any day now. Okay.
No.
Once they run those updates, once they get all those updates finished.
Elephant Trap says EA has a very small viewer team, so they do PC only at the moment. That must be the Formula One game you're talking about, is it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Important says the EA Battlefront VR demo was pretty good. Yes, it was. Back in PSVR 1, back when all the big developers were kind of like, ooh, this viewer thing might catch on, so we'll all dip our toes in just to see what it's like. You know, Ubisoft were big on that too. Even Call of Duty, remember we got the Jackal Assault demo thing,
Yeah.
which wasn't like
Yeah.
Call of Duty at all. It was just like it was like Eve Valkyrie or something.
Yeah.
But still, even they,
Eve Valkyrie was such a good game.
yeah.
That was such a good game.
Yeah.
Important says most games still don't even have the graphics of the demo disc that came with PSVR 1. And that's the problem because we got these Quest 2 ports that we have to rely on. It's not the Quest's fault. It's not the developer's fault. It's just how it is. It's the reality of the situation because PlayStation is not the lead platform.
Yeah. The one that sells the most is the one that everyone goes to first.
There you
That's
go.
just how it is.
Fortunately, yeah.
I have to go sleep for 3 hours and then get up to go to work. Disgusting. I hate early shifts. I'll continue listening later. Grats to
Disgusting.
everyone from Belgium. Damn, we got another Belgian. Elephant Trap. I
Nice.
didn't know you were a Belgian as well.
Belgium.
Sweet dreams.
GG.
Though. Tantrum says some
Sweet
people
dreams.
complain to say the problem with PSVR 2 is that it is a sponge for Quest ports. They want PC quality VR games. What sayest thou? I want both. I want the Quest ports obviously as well, but I don't want to have to rely on the Quest ports. I still want, because I paid €600 for a next gen viewer headset, and what I'm getting is just the Quest games that are slightly better looking, but are still fundamentally the same game. So, well, I'm fine with having a selection of those, you know, because there is a lot of good Quest 2 games that I want on PSVR 2. I still want games that aren't possible. For example, Madison seems like a full triple, well, I don't know, maybe not triple A, but double A or something. But it seems like a game that can't run on Quest natively, you know, and it's already getting good feedback. Cube, I know Jackpot's going to laugh at it or whatever, but like Minecraft is a popular type of game, and that's basically Minecraft. It's like Minecraft the way it was when it came out first. You know, back before it had all the shit. But like Cube, when it
Back in
gets
like
updates,
early alpha 0.000.1.
yeah, it was
early
massively
alpha was
popular. It
crazy.
was massively popular when it came out. You know,
Minecraft.
yeah,
I don't know about
It
this.
was
It
huge
still
back
is.
then.
Minecraft is still.
That's what I'm saying.
Minecraft
But I'm
is
saying,
still
like, in the
popular.
beginning,
Yeah, but
before
it's
it had all the
huge.
features, I'm saying it was still like massive
Yeah.
back then. You know.
Yeah. When I first
Whereas you're
started.
acting like Cube isn't good because it doesn't have whatever features Minecraft has these days. But
No, I'm saying it's not good because there's nothing to do in the
that's
game.
not true.
It's 30
That's
or
not true. You
$30
do
and
what
it
you
looks
build
pretty.
whatever you want. You
Come on,
build
man.
whatever you want.
That's the
That's
problem.
not
The
necessarily a
standards, in
type
my
of game for
opinion, are
me.
so low
There's a type of
because you
there's
have
people like
nothing.
that.
Like
People
LSP is
like that.
thirsty.
People play
I
with
know.
Legos. Do you understand?
I
There's
know,
an
but we,
appeal
like
of
you're
Lego.
saying, $600. We need to get more
That's a
flush
one
games.
game. That's one, and that's a nice feather to have in your hat. You know, but I'm obviously
No,
not
it's
saying
not a
this is.
nice
I'm not saying
feather.
it's a system seller. I'm not
It's a
saying
really
it's a
good.
system seller.
It is. It's a really good start for that game, and if they can keep improving it and add multiplayer
Yeah.
and
He's talking
more,
about
a little
100
more,
player multiplayer. You know, that's what he's talking about.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
How do you resist it then? Could
I
all-
really
I-
hope.
could all
I
build
still
a
have
big
my fingers
penis.
crossed. I still have my fingers crossed for Hello Games, that new project that they're working
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
Light No Fire. I hope that they have VR in that too, because obviously they are fans of VR and they adapted No Man's Sky in a big way. So
I think they
if
will.
they can
I
do,
think they will.
yeah, that would be great if they do that. Then I'm all in on that game.
I can
Whenever
see.
that
I can
comes
see
out
it not
in like
being
5
their
years.
day one though. I can see it being like an update that has to come out a few
Maybe,
months later or
yeah.
something.
You're right,
Um,
probably. I hope
anyway.
it eventually does come out.
Anyway, so the other side of this is that this guy's bullshitting about the Bloomberg article, and he's once again spreading lies, or you
Yeah.
know, semi-truths or half-truths, and maybe Sony will come out and say this is not true, and then it was all for nothing, you know. But until they do that, the fear is
It's
there.
gonna be,
You know, the worry is
yeah.
there.
Well, if they don't have any pushback from Sony, then everyone's just gonna believe it. Because like, why would Sony not say anything?
Yeah. Great Tantrum says, what blows my mind is that these articles claim PSVR2 lacks AAA games, but go on and praise Quest 3, which has only one AAA game, Asgard's Wrath 2, and they seem fine with that. That's 100% right. And by the way, Asgard's Wrath 2 is playable on Quest 2, so it's not even a Quest 3 exclusive. The Quest doesn't have any, it has one single exclusive, and that's
Well, they got,
Townsmen in VR. That's it.
I would say Assassin's Creed is a AAA game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but like it's not a Quest 3 exclusive. You can play that on the Quest 2.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I think for fucking whatever reason, luckily the price. Obviously, I think they're maybe depending more on the amount of other games, right? Like these games, like PlayStation has a lot of games, right? And a lot of them are still coming. I think that's what they should focus more on exclusives. But you guys, right? I don't think there's actually exclusives. They're making all their other money on all the other games that are not just exclusive to the Quest platform. Because I think, like you said, the new Athgas, whatever the fucking call that name, the fucking
Asgard's Wrath.
you never fucking say that fucking
Asgard?
game.
Ass.
I
Assassin?
heard it's
Asgard?
not. Yeah, I heard it's not like. I heard it's good, but like graphically, like you said, since it's on the Quest 2, it's not.
But
It's
I
a
guess it
downgrade from
looks
Quest
good
1.
for a Quest 2 game. Like
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
been, it's impressive what they managed to do with the hardware. But it is a
okay,
downgrade from
one
the
game.
original Quest, like or the original
One game.
Asgard's Wrath.
Right. And
But
Assassin's
the
Creed,
point
and
isn't that like I don't care that the Quest 3 doesn't have exclusives. It's just annoying when you see these like journalists shitting on the PSVR 2, pretending it doesn't have exclusives, and then they're like crickets when it comes to Quest 3, which has like no exclusives. You know,
Yeah.
they don't treat it the same way.
Very
for whatever
one-sided.
reason.
Very one-sided.
Yeah.
So,
Which Tantrum points out as well. Namek is here, aka Boyzode, the biggest Quest fanboy ever known to man. He says, my prayers are with PSVR fanboys right now. Thank you, viewer Namek. We appreciate that. Important says, I think we're mostly next-gen viewer fanboys. Well, that's it. And listen, every time I say this, I'm not trying to shit on Quest, but Quest is holding back next-gen viewer, you know, because it is mobile. It's not their fault. Again, I'm not trying to shit on Quest. They're very successful. That's how you have to be successful. You have to do the mobile shit, apparently. Standalone is what makes
and you just have to
successful
have
VR.
fun games. You have to have fun games like Contractors
Yeah.
in VR.
there's a lot of other things that you can do. Like if the PlayStation VR let us watch fucking movies, Netflix, like do
Well,
stuff
that's
like
a whole
that.
different. That's a whole different story about like using your VR for things other than games. But
Yeah.
Well,
Sony
that's why
does
the
it to-
Quest is so popular, because I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed, a lot of the
exactly.
fucking ads is just like all the other stuff you can do besides games, right? Like exercises and fucking watch movies and do
Oh
all this
yeah,
stuff.
it's way more versatile. That's for sure.
But for me personally, who's like I care about the game and like all that stuff is cool,
Yeah.
but I see those as like bonus features if you have them. So like
Yeah.
PSVR 1 had
Right.
YouTube VR, which I used like 3 times and never
But it
used it
just
again.
But
it's
if you're
about
not gonna
more-
give us
but it's about
games,
more.
at least give us that.
It's also just about more mass appeal, and that's helps.
Oh
it
yeah, 100%. Like
more.
I'd love to
That's-
have all
yeah.
these things, but like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a personal levels, like just
Well, of
focus
course.
on the games first and then worry about that shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Obviously
not
do both.
focusing on
Both is
anything.
great. Yeah, but obviously they're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is why I'm concerned. This is why we're doom and gloom about PSVR 2 every fucking week now. Actual says it looks amazing in both Quest 2 and Quest 3. I assume he's talking about Asgard's Wrath 2. Great Tantrum says, I can't wait Flat2VR will bring to the table. Okay, that's a good segue to the next topic.
All right, let's talk about some positivity then.
There you
The
go.
maybe possible future with this new
New studio.
studio.
Which is Flat2VR Studios. You probably heard of Flat2VR before.
They're
They were
here.
like,
They're here to save VR. These guys are here to save us all, guys.
potentially.
Yep,
gonna do-
pretty much.
they're gonna do it.
Potentially. So it's a team of modders, and like you probably heard of like the games they've modded, and like they've all combined together. So it's like the dudes behind the Half-Life 2 mod that brought that to VR, and what else is there? Like Resident Evil 7,
Yeah.
and Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3. All these, what were they? Prey Dog? Maybe it's not the Prey Dog ones. I can't remember. But basically,
These guys are literally doing the Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
There you
and they're
go.
putting on the plug.
Exactly.
That's what these guys are doing. Because no one else is doing it. Sony's not doing it. No one's doing it. So they're going to do it.
But what they had been doing for months and months and months was like just unofficial mods. So they worked as best they could to get VR in these games. But obviously, because it's unofficial, sometimes there'll be jank or, it's not designed for that. So there's like little issues here and there. But now they're working in an official capacity with Flat Studios. We don't know the details on which the studios are yet, but they're like officially, they have some an agreement. So they're already started. And they're going to be basically porting these games to VR. And then they'll be selling them presumably as separate standalone VR ports. Maybe there'll be updates in some cases or DLC that you can buy. I'm not sure how that'll work. But they do list PSVR 2, Quest, and Steam as intended store targets for these games. Here's a quote I'll read out. It says, Flat2VR Studios says its first licensed VR game is being kept under wraps for now. However, a release is planned for late 2024 or early 2025 on major VR platforms. That's a quote from Upload VR. So there you go. They gave out other hints as well. Apparently it's a popular IP they're working on. That could mean anything, of course.
It's also
is good
PSVR
news.
2, you think?
I
Is
hope
that
so.
game also? Yeah.
I didn't hear
hope
what
so.
either of you said. I didn't. What did you say?
I said that if this game that they're working on, it says all major platforms, do you
Yeah.
think that also means, I know major platforms, Sony, PSVR 2 should be included, but do you think they are going to include that?
Well, there's no
or just
guarantee.
Quest the
Yeah, better
There's no
be.
fucking guarantee, is there? Because didn't the Contractor's devs say the same thing? Coming to all major headsets. But now they won't say it's coming to PSVR 2. So maybe PSVR 2 is not a major headset anymore.
All I have to say is if these guys are doing this work for us and they're going to start bringing flat games into VR, and it does come to PlayStation VR 2, all of you motherfuckers out there that have a PSVR 2 better support these guys. If the game
5-star
launches and it's
reviews
like,
and for
Yes,
every game they put out.
if this game, if whatever game it is that they're working on, if it launches on PlayStation VR 2 and it flops on our headset and sells on Quest, I'm going to be so damn pissed.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. Then the
hope-
VR is really dead, or then Sony's headset is
Yeah.
really dead. If,
And
if
I
no one
hope-
embraces these guys.
Yeah, because if like Sebas, if they support them, because what I'm worried about this is that they bring all these games out and they're maybe bringing them first to Quest, right? And or PC VR, and then they're like, okay, well, let's bring one or two to PlayStation VR 2, but maybe like you said, it doesn't sell as well. So like, fuck that, let's just do most of the the VR games just for the Quest and or PC VR.
That could happen.
So yeah, that's the thing that I'm kind of worried about this thing. I mean, not worry too much for me, no offense, because I thankfully I have the Quest and the PC. But I'm with you guys. I mean, I spend the fucking money. I want to play
Yeah.
the games on the PSVR2 because for me, that's the best place to play the VR games, right? For me, hands down. So.
Let's hope that Sony doesn't like set up a blockade on these guys and they actually work with them to
that'd be
get
nice.
these games.
Would you
Sony better not be assholes and like.
Would you say it's
okay? Well, we'll put it into our queue and wait for like 6 months before it comes out and that kind of shit.
Would you be worried that like because they're targeting Quest as well, that these games might be more in line with, like, I'd say, a Bulletstorm VR, like going back a couple of generations, maybe they won't be the big games because they need to run on a Quest as well. Obviously, maybe not all their games have to be on Quest. Maybe they can do a PC and PSVR2 exclusives as well. I don't know, but they probably want to launch.
It's gonna be a little bit of everything. I mean, they fucking like Resident Evil 2. It's not the remake. It's not a new game, right? The remake was whatever many years old.
Yeah.
And there's VR mods for that, and it looks fucking good. So I think
but that wouldn't run natively on a Quest though.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't run on the Quest. No, I don't think it would.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if they're working on these games and they're multi-platform, and like, because obviously the Quest is the biggest platform, they're not going to want to miss them. Then logically, they might be going for these older games that might be less taxing. Yeah, BioShock, that could be a big one.
BioShock would be amazing. And if they say it's a popular one, we just don't know how far back they're going. We don't know like if they're going back to like the PlayStation 3 days or PS4 days or whatever.
When we don't know what's the balance too, like Pumpkin says, I'm assuming most likely there's gonna be. It makes more sense, even though I don't want to. Makes more sense to make. Let's say they're making 10 games. Makes more sense to make more of those games for the Quest 2, aka shittier graphics, because that's where the most market is. So that's kind of the thing that like I might be slightly worried. But I'm not that worried, dude. I think these guys are gonna just fucking pump games, and they're gonna sell a lot, at least on the Quest and the PC. So they're gonna continue to pump, and that will be a good thing because maybe they'll continue to keep this thing alive, and hopefully, we get these games on the PSVR 2, and people actually buy them, so we can continue to get more and more over here.
Well, whatever they put out, even if it is like older games, it's better than nothing. This is a positive. There's no way to spin this as a bad thing. This is good for VR.
And we already know that these guys are talented because they've been doing it like independently as just regular modders and
in their spare time. I know they're I assume this is making this a full-time job for them now. I don't know, but
it's like a studio. So it's like a legit like studio of all the best modders for all these games that they've already done before. So
you'd wonder like how fast they'll be able to pump these out. Like if they're able to get them out in their spare time individually before, now if they're all working together as a team and like can they like rapid fire these out, you'd wonder. If they can get the licenses and shit, obviously. That's probably
how long it takes to get the licenses and how big their team is, but I can't wait to hear what their first project is because it will give you some insight on what they're targeting for like what their idea is for like games that they're going to be working on.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm assuming
if it is something like a BioShock that they're going to launch first, that would be amazing. Like,
and I think they have to do something like that. And I'm assuming they're like, hey, this is going to make first one. Let's make a
make it a big one.
Like
that everybody like turns heads kind of thing, not just like a.
That would be hard for them. Like who owns like 2K?
2K
owns BioShock, I think, and they're like huge.
Yeah.
So the chances of them getting that, like they'd be doing pretty well if they managed to.
Yeah.
For their very first game, where they're like technically unproven to the big corporations anyway, they might have to start with something a bit smaller. Maybe I don't know.
No.
But BioShock would be
maybe target any of the games that run on Unreal since that already exists. Unreal Engine.
Let me try and catch up with some comments. What's the viewer in the mix saying? What is he
hates
saying? He says, once Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, Uncharted, Killzone, and other PlayStation standards are on PSVR 2, I'm sure it starts selling. In other words, he doesn't think it's ever going to start selling. Jerm Werthers, how you doing, Jerm? He says, I can't seem to give away a barely used PSVR 2 with globular cluster kit. Damn, you're trying to get rid of it, Jerm? You can't seem to give it away? You're not even trying to sell it? You just can't give it away? Is that what you're doing?
Nobody wants it.
You're trying to give away your PlayStation VR2 headset. Damn.
VR says Flat2VR will basically be all about classic games that look like mobile, just right request. Sorry, boys, nothing to impress your flat PlayStation friends. That could be the case. Although, like, Bioshock would still fit that, and Bioshock would still turn heads, even though it's like a 2008 game or whatever. Tell them to port 0 Hour to PSVR2. This is important. Tantrum, that's not for me. Namek says maybe they should port Astrobot, given Sony won't. It would sell if they did. Posse, how you doing? Says make a major wave in the VR space. You have to be prepared to make a loss, as the consumer base isn't there. Once they see those AAA titles, then you attract the mass. Unfortunately, Sony aren't prepared. Well, it's a lot of risk to ask, especially in this economic climate, guys. It's very difficult. But then again, don't bother putting out a fucking headset if you're not going to support it, So you have to take the risk.
you gotta take the risks. You already have the headset, so take the risk and try to make it a success. Don't just let it die without like a
double or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Get on it, Sony.
Bad Robo, how you doing? Nice to see you. He says, I think the studio will mainly focus on PC. Older PS3 games could be ported to Quest 3, but certainly no flat PS4 era games. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. That's why I was bringing up Bulletstorm as an example. But there's still like really good games from the PS3 360 generation, like Red Dead Redemption 1, Grand Theft Auto 4. We'd still play those.
Hell, if they can give me Grand Theft Auto 4 in VR, I'd be pretty damn happy.
Yeah. Germ says Sun didn't want it, so listed it for $350 and haven't even gotten an offer in over a week.
Damn. Nobody wants your.
So the magic number is $299. The magic number is $299. Germ has just proven $350 doesn't sell.
Because they don't want they think you have COVID. They don't want your COVID headset.
I don't know. Germ says, I'll probably just keep it to see AI, what the PC support looks like. Offer up and Facebook. Importance is
just keep it.
For now. Yeah, you never know. Give it another year. Importance is Battlefield Bad Company 2 was PS3. I'll play that one till my eyes bleed. Yeah, a lot of big Bad Company 2 fans out there. It's a game that touched the nation.
I wish.
Vietnam DLC was the best gaming time thing overall of all times.
So
yeah, that would be amazing.
If Sony
bring us Bad Company, I agree. That'd be the best.
If Sony cared about PSVR 2, what they would do is they would acquire Flat2VR Studios, and then they would make them work exclusively on PSVR 2 ports. Obviously, that's if they were willing to be bought. Yes, 100%. They did that for Nixes. That's what they did with Nixes. They did it, and now the Nixes exclusively port their games to PC.
They'll run the company to the ground, and then we won't get anything. And then Nixes, the Quest.
Look at
nobody
Nixes.
Gets
look at Nixes. Look at Nixes. All right, that's what they did with Nixes. Just for PC, they just need to do the same. It doesn't have to be them, obviously, but if they got a studio to do this same function, we'd be laughing. We'd be happy. But they won't. They won't. Don't worry. It's not going to happen.
Not worried.
That's a dream.
I know they won't.
That's a dream.
They hate us.
Namek says, I so need Bioshock. Bioshock would be... I mean, it's a classic game. Nobody would say no to us. I don't like it as much as everyone else like it, but I still like it,
And VR?
Oh, it would be made for... It would just be like made... Everything about that game, it's made for VR.
Yeah.
Like your powers that you shoot out of your hands and everything. It's just...
Traveling through these underwater like tunnels and shit, just like admiring everything around you.
And actually seeing it Big Daddy VR would be amazing. That would be like so terrifying.
And it's there's quite a few like horror kind of elements in that game too that would be enhanced in VR as well.
All the splicers, the crazy splicers.
Tantrum says Wipeout Omega Collection needs to come to PSVR 2. If not, then the Red House 1 and 2 games, which are Wipeout-ish type razors. Yeah, but where is Wipeout Omega Collection? Why hasn't that not been ported to PSVR 2?
No one knows. Sony doesn't care.
It's just ridiculous. I'm sick of asking the questions. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. Just the same routine.
know the
Every,
answer.
like, why
You
isn't
know
they
the
doing? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they
It's like
doing
keep getting
that?
reminded. I keep getting reminded. Like someone's like, "Oh yeah, Wipeout
Yeah.
exists." It's like, "Fuck, why don't we
Yeah.
have that?"
Yeah.
Astrobot obviously keeps coming up as
Astrobot.
well.
Astrobot.
Yeah, that
exists.
one's weird.
It just doesn't make any sense. What are they planning? It just seems like
Nothing.
nobody's like a headless chicken going on. Jim Ryan is leaving. We know he's retiring like next month or something. So it's like, does he know something? Does he know the place is burning down?
Money. Took your money and ran.
He's jumping ship.
Maybe.
Sony's crumbling.
Maybe.
Even though they're selling the most systems out of every company, they're still somehow failing because games cost so much to make. Did you guys hear like about like the most recent Spider-Man game that came out?
It was like 300 million or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, however many it sold, and I guess they're like just barely like breaking even kind of thing because of how much the game costs. Like it's like,
and Marvel takes
like
a massive cut as well from each copy they sell, I think.
Well, yeah, that too, I guess. But like, yeah, you think how much that game sold, and it still really wasn't like really crazy numbers for them in terms of sales.
It's like Firewall. I don't know the numbers, but Firewall, I've heard, like 0 Hour, as popular as that game was, like whatever investment they put in, it wasn't like, oh man, we fucking go to the bank and go, get some hookers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was like, yeah, we kind of like, and then I've heard with Zero, with fucking, I forgot the name. Sorry,
Ultra.
Sorry. Even with that game, I've heard that if they anything even broke even or not make money. So I think, like you said, Maz, it's crazy how much it's just too risky for them, dude. That's why with this economy, everything how it is.
Well, VR is like way.
I just got an error saying that OBS stopped and then it restarted immediately. So I don't know if the stream is still live or not. Can somebody in the chat let us know if we're still live?
It's back up. It's back up. It was black screen for a second.
Okay, it just like went and came immediately back again. I've never had that happen before.
Yep.
Damn. EMP, and
an EMP blast that lasted for half a second.
Everything shut down.
I'm sorry who I interrupted. Sorry. If you want to keep going with whatever you were saying about was the firewall, the money.
Yeah, I think that the fucking is expensive.
Games in general.
Yeah, shit's expensive.
Even like even for like a smaller budget game like Firewall 0 Hour was, because VR is like such a smaller audience. Like the numbers still scale the same way to like the big AAA games and selling as many as they do. It's just all percentages and how much. Yeah.
But then you keep in mind they cancelled. They apparently cancelled the Twisted Metal game. They cancelled The Last of Us Online, which they put like millions into that game already. So then they've already lost. They've already made these gambles that haven't paid off, and then they're looking at PSVR2 and they're like, "Oh, do we really want to make?"
Well, but what do you think it is? Like, let's be fucking honest, dude. It's weird to me. Like the whole gaming industry, it's fucking weird because they're bringing games that are fucking trash, and if from the beginning that they're gonna be trash, right? Like example, they fucking every week the games come out. We're used to this garbage, like the Suicide Squad game, whatever it came out.
Suicide Squad sucked, and
huge
then
IP,
and then Skull and Bones comes out, and that sucks. And
right, all these games
they're just burning money. They're just burning money. Yeah.
Right, but then you see a lot of people from the beginning says this fucking concept doesn't fucking work. Why are you even doing this, right? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, no offense, the Gollum game, right? Yeah. Who the fuck wants to play as Gollum? Like, what the fuck? There's the beginners, like, who the fuck, right? And then you get games like fucking Helldivers, right?
It's like that's what I always thought. Every time I watch the Lord of the Rings movies, I was like, man, I wish I could play. I wish I could play as that guy and just walk around in caves all day.
And the game was trash, apparently, even if the game was good. But like, and then you get games like Helldivers, right? Everything about that game is great. The fucking community, the marketing, the price, the no pay to win bullshit, like. Dude, it's like, what the fuck is going on? And like the same with these decisions for like Sony. Like, I don't understand why we have to navigate through 90% of bullshit. And they spend millions. You tell me Suicide Squad was a cheap game to make, dude. I fucking guarantee you that was so expensive.
That cost them ridiculous.
And then I gotta make expensive. Yes.
Then I gotta make any fucking money. But it's like, who's making these fucking decisions?
Well, I feel
like
they're all chasing the live service like high. They're looking at Fortnite. Everyone wants to be Fortnite. That's the thing.
I know, but like
all the decisions are coming from the corporate guys trying to appease the
shareholders.
The shareholders, yes, and
it's like
It's just all about how can we get these stupid gamers to keep giving us money. That's all it is. That's all.
Maybe
like,
there's a
and then
disconnect.
it just trickles down to the game developers being forced to do stuff that they don't really.
The people
need.
making the decisions do not care about the games. They don't understand why we play them. You know,
No,
I think that's what it is. They don't understand.
They're just they're just looking at like the numbers and like look at this. Look at the income that this game is making.
Yeah, do that.
And then this game.
Do that. Make this game that game.
Do that. Yeah, do that. Do the same thing.
No, sir, but we're not. Shut the fuck up. Do that right now. Otherwise, you're not gonna get paid.
That's how it is. Germ says, meanwhile, they're killing The Last of Us multiplayer after years of development. I know what, Germ. I know you were looking forward to that too. I was really looking forward to it because the first multiplayer was so good. And they were going to make it like a big open world thing, I think. So they really, I wish they would have just released whatever they released. Like whatever they had made up to that point. Just something. Because, man, the gameplay in that Last of Us 2 is like really fucking good. Importance is bean counters, exactly. The bean counters have fucked us again. But anyway, we're getting negative again. This is good news. Flat2VR Studios, really good news, and I wish them every success. So fingers crossed.
All the best to these guys, and I hope that their first game is a real head turner that wakes people up to the and sells, and hopefully people actually buy their whatever they're making. They're the only bright side right now that we have to hold on to right now.
They could be heroes. But whatever, if they release games that skip PSVR2, though, I'm going to start hate campaigns against them. Anyway, next topic. I won't really, don't worry. Don't do that. That's not cool. There's a game coming out called Riven. It's a sequel to Myst. Apparently, Myst is also coming to VR, or already did. I don't know. It didn't come to PSVR2, so I don't know. This game's a sequel to Myst. And
puzzle?
It's coming. It's a puzzle game, yeah. And this is all we have, this little teaser of like a logo, so it's not even gameplay. But we don't even know if it's coming to PS2. They just said it's coming to VR and flat, so it's a hybrid game. So yeah, I brought it up here just because on the off chance it's coming to PSVR2, and I say it's an off chance because if Myst didn't come, then why would the sequel come? I don't know.
Yeah, it won't then. Why are we talking about
Probably won't.
But it might. You never know.
So that's that
and
topic.
It's this year, coming this year.
Yes, coming 2024. Sorry.
2D and VR.
Nice. That's all I really have to say about
I think it will be on PlayStation VR too.
Yeah, I think it will, dude.
You think so?
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like games like this, it's like actually fucking the games that you wouldn't expect sometimes to come to the VR2, they do, and the games you expect to come, they don't. I don't know.
All right, we'll see. Mystic Meg over here making predictions. That whatever the opposite, go with the opposite of whatever Jackpot says, and that'll be the truth.
Lately, yes.
All right. The next topic I put down was Cube because I didn't really have anything to talk about when I was making this, and I was like struggling for topics. So basically, there's no news or anything. Just that it came out. I got the review copy. I reviewed it. I gave it like 3.5 pumpkins out of 5. By the way, should I keep the rating system, or is that a stupid thing to do? I don't.
Yes.
Keep us
cool. Yes.
All right.
But I was confused because I didn't, when you had the pumpkins on the screen, I didn't know how many pumpkins you were rating it out of.
Okay.
Because
I assumed people would think 5, but it's not clear. It's not clear. I'll put down out of 5 next time.
Yeah. Or you can put that, and you can put. Well, that's more work. But there's a lot of people that play Steam games know. There's some people that always on their reviews for Steam, they put a level, like how much fun it is from, like, really fucking boring, whatever, expensive, how expensive it is, if it's worth it. So there's different categories on the different things that you talk about the game. But I like the whole pumpkin stuff.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Movemaster Mick using his membership super chat comment thing. I don't know what they're called. So it's not a super chat, but it's like it's highlighted as if it is a super chat.
Member
chat. Okay, member chat? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not important. He says, you guys been watching Firewall Ultra League? Sadly, I haven't. Just haven't. Just like it's a time thing. Hasn't worked out for me to watch it. Although I'm interested, because we're friends with Virus, so I hope her team is doing good. I don't know if she is or not, but we're Team Virus. Anyway, next topic is Legendary.
Oh, that's it? You're not gonna say anything about it? If you like,
sorry, yeah, I was sorry. Well, I got the review obviously, so watch the review. But is there anything you want to know, or anyone in the chat who wants to know, like about this game? I feel like.
What do you think, realistically? What do you think this game is gonna happen or what's gonna add, and what do you want it to realistically have? Because I've heard it's kind of bare bones, but what do you think it needs, and what do you think is actually gonna get added?
I mean, it is definitely, if you're going into it expecting the Minecraft, like the way Minecraft is today, you'll be disappointed. But if you're someone who can just enjoy the building or whatever, you'll be happy. But in terms of, basically what needs to be added is the Minecraft stuff needs to be added. Like, he needs to catch up to where Minecraft is today. Obviously not one for one. He's only one person developing this, I think. So he's not going to be able to put everything in. And they've got like billions over there, fucking Mohang or whatever the studio's called that does Minecraft. But basically what he says multiplayer is coming, that needs to happen. He says combat is coming, that needs to happen. So if he can get these things in, and hopefully sooner rather than later, then they can be a real like must-have title for PSVR2.
So when you say build and whatever you want, okay. So what do you mean when in terms of the buildings? Can you? Because I saw some weird ass fucking buildings. You can literally custom make with blocks whatever fucking
like,
building you want. Right?
Everything has to be like a Lego shape. You know, you can't do like a spiral staircase that's perfectly rounded. Like everything's,
I know.
everything's
But what
in
I'm saying
squares.
is you can go. I know, but you can create your own building. Is what I'm saying.
You can make
It's
a
not
castle.
like
You can make, you know, a Mount Rushmore. You can make whatever you want.
Okay. And there's blueprints, I'm assuming, for specific items, right?
For like, so you see in the trailer, they're like chairs and picture frames and like a furnace and stuff like that. So you need to find these blueprints, which are really easy to find. They literally glow in the middle of, like, they spawn around you. Like, you can't miss them. Multiples will spawn until you get them all.
Okay.
There's only like 30 or 40 of them.
If they do like you said, multiplayer, if they do 100 players, they'll be fucking sick. But if they do a lot of multiplayer, if they add maybe more customizable items to put on your town or on your fucking inside of your houses for decoration, whatever, if they add combat, and then somewhere like, oh, you go to this fucking mine or this fucking cave, and there's different fucking levels in there in the cave, like, you know, that you have to get different weapons and upgrade them in order to go out and fucking explore and get fucking fancy fucking equipment or fancy gold or whatever. I think that would be cool.
We already have legendary tails. That's what I do.
I know, but the legendary tails, you can't build the structures. But yeah,
I don't want to build structures. I just want to fight.
But if you had 100 people there, like, you could build like a town for yourself.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, you could.
That's the whole point of this game, right? The building. But I agree. I like more the fighting. I'm more interested in the fighting. But for this game, that it seems it's more the building. I think if they add that, it will be maybe interesting for me. Because for me right now, this is it looks pretty, and for some people really relaxing. But for me,
I just want to say, like, I know you're not into it or whatever. I wasn't into this type of game either. I wasn't expecting to like it. But, like, I think if you tried it, like, the second you boost it up and you go into the game world, your jaw would drop at how fucking good it looks. Like, the videos don't
just like
do
I'm
justice.
telling you that.
The videos
just like I'm telling you that you guys need to try the quest before you bitch at it.
No, I know what I know the quest isn't going to look better than this. All right,
but no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it might be addicting. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just talking shit, like joking. But you know? No, it has potential if it actually push it. But I don't think it's like something
like when it goes to.
It could be fun.
Well, like, it has a full day-night cycle as well. So when it gets dark, even though I set my time so that the day lasts like for ages and nighttime only lasts for like 1 minute because I wasn't being able to see where I was going. Cheating. Like, it gets pitch black, and then let's say but let's say then, like, you shoot a firework up a deer's ass. It shoots up into the sky, and then these big, bright green sparks come showering down on top of you, and again, you're in pitch blackness, and they kind of illuminate shit, and it's like just fucking class, you know?
When it's nighttime, can you pull out a torch?
Yes,
and, like,
yes.
Light your way?
You can plant them on the ground as well, and they illuminate your way. And they're useful for when you're going into caves to, like, find your way back, because you can really get lost underground.
Yeah, if they can add, like, a really bunch of cool combat and, like, monsters and stuff to fight in this game, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, like, it would be really hard not to give it a 5 out of 5 if it didn't have combat. And if it had multiplayer and combat, 5 out of 5.
Multiplayer and combat, yeah.
Easy. You don't know why you're shaking your head. What's wrong?
Just because you have multiplayer and combat, what if the combat is not deep enough? It's no offense. Like Legendary Tales, there's only like 2-3 characters. Like, okay, cool. 5 out of 5.
I've been playing it, and I've been realizing it doesn't really matter to me as much anymore that there's, like, just... It would be cool if there was more, but I mean...
Right, but 5 out of 5? Maybe 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. But give it 5 out of 5 for me. 5 out of 5 means it's a fucking great, perfect game.
There's no such thing as a perfect game. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo is pretty perfect.
It's not
except
perfect though.
couple
It's got
things.
reprojection, so you dock up marks for that straight away, and
But come
other
on,
shit.
that's
You can't get out of your car. They can't do like the meet up with other people's cars. And look
well
at
then why are
theirs
you
and stuff
giving
like
this
that.
5.5? Then there's no
I'm
perfect
not.
games.
I
Give this
didn't.
game a
I didn't.
2.5.
But I'm like
3.5.
I'm not saying that you should only give 5 out of 5 to perfect games. Like I think you can give a 5 out of 5 to a game that isn't perfect.
Not perfect, but you know what I mean. Like fuck for me, fucking Gran Turismo is
Yeah, I give that a
10 out of
5 out of
10.
5.
5 out of 5.
I
Right.
agree. I agree.
It's not perfect.
But it's still
no,
not
you know
perfect.
What I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's what I'm saying.
but for me, this just adding combat and multiplayer for me it wouldn't make it.
Well, obviously the
as
combat
good
can't be
level.
trash. As long as it's like somewhat decent, it's gonna bump up. Like because it adds so much. And if you have the multiplayer then with
Yeah.
100 people, like that'll be fucking
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
This
Anyway,
game, it has potential to grow into something. I
Yeah.
just hope that people stick with it enough that they have a reason to keep.
the foundation.
Updating
My worry about this game is that like it's just one dude, and like it might take him too long
Yeah,
to get the updates.
too long
out.
to get
Yes,
these going.
that's my worry
Yeah.
about this game. Anyway, move on to Legendary Tales. Since we're speaking about that, I got an update recently. Okay, so the developer saw that people wanted to do like hybrid builds. So basically, the way it was in the beginning, if you want to be strong, dude, then you put all your points into strength or whatever. You do not mix it with dexterity or shit like that, or else you'll be fucking yourself over. But because people kind of just tended to want to do that anyway, he saw that people wanted that, so he's gone and added an entire new skill tree to the game with 14 new skills, and they're all based around making hybrid styles, viable, I guess.
Yeah.
So that updates
It's pretty
out.
crazy that he did this like so fast. This game hasn't been out that long, and he's already like come out with an update that has like a whole new skill tree, and
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
that's pretty crazy that he's done it that fast.
How well tested could that be? Like, because like surely
I don't
when
know.
it comes to skills, you'd like really want like
balance,
intensive
yeah.
quality testing or whatever to make sure everything balances up.
Yeah.
But yeah, also they brought out 6 new outfits for the female characters, and it didn't say
Nice.
anything about male characters, so I assume
More
we all
more
know
cleavage.
why. We all know
more
why.
cleavage showing.
More jigglies.
More jiggles.
And,
Get those jiggle physics working even better.
They got support for 6 more languages as well, including Polish and whatever, a few other ones
Nice.
if you're
Yeah.
that way inclined. But yeah, this is a game that's getting good support. If Cube can update as quickly as Legendary Tales can, then they'll be okay.
I'm finding I'm really loving the nuances in combat. Like you start realizing like when you're in, like you suddenly drop down like a trap door, like when you're in a dungeon or something, and then suddenly you're in like this small corridor, and there's like 4 or 5 or even 6 like enemies, like goblins and skeletons, all there, and they just start coming at you. Like you have to react so fast, and like you have to have like have to know what to do. You can't just start like wildly like swinging around, like they'll just overwhelm you. So you have to like.
Are you telling me you can't just spam them with fireballs, Moz?
No, you can't.
Oh,
Even when you're a mage, you only have a limited amount of magic. You can only like throw magic so much before your gauge is depleted. So like you can start doing big moves, but if there's too many of them, they'll eventually get to you before you can knock them all down. So you have to like really have tactics planned in different stages, because like you never know when you're gonna like run around a corner and run into too many or get ambushed by too many, and then they start swarming you and you start panicking and you don't know what to do, and you
so it's a thinking man's game.
Yeah, a little bit. Like if you play it smart, you can stay out of the danger as long as you can, but eventually they'll get you. Like I was going through a dungeon and I thought I was doing real good, and that happened to me. I was just walking up some steps. The steps collapsed and I fell down, and suddenly I was in this like dark corridor and all these enemies were there. Like I was just surrounded.
Gangbanged.
It's like, oh shit.
Did they kill
Yeah,
you?
I couldn't. Yeah, I died a few times, and then I had to keep dropping down because I had to get my loot again. So I had to like try to get around them to grab my sword to get my loot back, and then try to fight them, and then I die again. I just had to keep going down until I got them. Bit of a trial and error. But
Yeah.
there's some difficulty to it. I like it. I like that there's some pushback. It's not just like Even though like I have quite a few of the magic skills now, I'm still like not just
God
easily
mode.
killing everything. Yeah, it's not a god mode yet.
So Donnie says, yes, keep the racing system. And what Muzz said, he made an ass out of me because I assumed it was out of 5 pumpkins. Glad to know my brain was right. Well, I didn't make an ass out of you. I know you're playing with Assume and whatever, but still, I mean, it doesn't make sense, Donnie. Cube says, ass suck. Wonder what he thinks. Yeah, he's some opinions about Cube. Actual, how you doing? Says, game looks calm and music is nice. Like I want to meditate in there. Yeah, the music, everything about it is just chill, just relaxing. It's a spiritual game, you know. Donnie says, I think there should have been like 5 types of builds at launch. In my
There's
opinion.
nothing more spiritual than shooting a rocket arrow and shooting
that really surprised me.
and exploding.
I wasn't expecting that the first time I did it. How many builds isn't there like way more than 5 types of builds, Donnie, in Legendary Tales? I mean, you can be the fighter, you can be a swordsman, you can be an archer, you can be stealth, you can be mage, you can do fist fighting, you can be glass cannon, you can do like all kinds of. I think there's like loads of different builds.
It really comes down to like, do you want to use melee or magic, and what kind of melee do you want to use? Do you want to use shields, 2-handed blades? There's lots of options to daggers. Do, but it really. What's that?
That's just daggers as well. Like there's lots of different types.
Or
of
just daggers,
styles.
Yeah. And then obviously there's skill trees for the people that you use like the stealth daggers and stuff, and people that want to just do like fist fighting and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
We have Christopher Hart in the house, the Heartbreak Kid himself, all the way from New York City, I think. Aren't you from New York? Or maybe you're not. He says Doomberg is a dummy. I'm listening to this podcast with my new Sony Pulse Explorer earbuds. Nice.
Damn.
Did you get the headphones as well, or just the earbuds? I thought I could have sworn you had the headphones. But yeah, I'm tempted by them earbud things, because they'd fit nicely when you're wearing VR headset.
Yeah, a little less cumbersome.
That'd be nice. Are you happy with this? Christopher
says,
do
they stay in your ears really good? That's what I'm wondering.
He says, I love the Pulse Explorers. They fit in my ears perfectly, and they don't feel like they're going to fall or anything. I'm going to use them with PSVR2 next. Nice. And yes, he's from New York. New York. Hey, it's me, Christopher Hart over here. I'm walking here. Options, yes, but not build types, says Donnie. I'll take your word for it, Donnie. I'm not an RPG expert, so I won't argue with this. You only got the earbuds, okay? Because I think the headphones, I don't think they fit too good on the PSVR2. I think somebody says you have to put the headphones on first and then put the PSVR2 on over us, which doesn't make sense to me, but apparently it fits better that way. That's Boston.
Are you talking about the Pulse headset? What are you talking about?
Do you know how they brought out the earbuds and like a new, is it a Pulse headset? It's like the newest one. They came out with the earbuds. They came out together, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have that one. I have the old Pulse headset.
Yeah. Anyway, next topic is the PS5 Pro. It's a real thing now. The specs have been leaked thanks to what's his name, Tom Henderson, I think, over is it Insider Gaming? I can't remember the name. What the fuck was that?
Did you skip over that?
What the fuck has a duck in their house?
What are you doing? Just remind me. Is there a duck here?
No.
Oh, there is a duck. There it is. All right, that makes sense now. I figured it out. Did I just lose the feed anyway?
Did you skip over one of your topics?
I did. I put them backwards here in the thing. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll just go with this one.
Yeah.
So PS4 Pro specs have leaked according to Tom Henderson. Nearly choked on my own spit there. He said dev kits are rolling out to third parties, so somebody spilled the beans. Actually, no, he didn't say this. This is just what people are thinking. Developer kits, because it's apparently coming out in holiday 2024. So Sony have started to send out developer kits. Obviously, the first parties would already have them, but the third parties are starting to get them now, and so the leaks are starting to come out. I'm going to go over some of the specs. I'm not going to go over all of them because a lot of them are just gibberish to me, and I don't care. Sorry. That was a weird one. The CPU gets a 10% boost.
Nice.
which apparently isn't a lot. People are complaining about that. There's improvements to audio. The GPU rendering is 45% faster than PS5. So games that are like based on GPU are going to improve a lot, but maybe games that are based on CPU, like Grand Theft Autos and stuff like that, might not. Apparently, it's going to have 2 to 3 times the ray tracing, which I didn't think is a unit of measurement, but there you go. 2 more ray tracings, please.
More God rays. More God
Gonna have
rays.
ray
More
tracing.
rays, there you go. It's going to be 33.5 teraflops. And there's like people arguing over that as well. They're like, oh, basically, when that comes to practice, it's only going to be half that. But I don't understand that, so I don't know. They're going to have their own upscaling solution as well, which is called like PlayStation PSSR. I don't know what the letters stand for. Again, too technical for me. But the coolest part, or the more interesting part to me, is that it's going to have AI accelerators in it. And according to the developers who have it already, that's the most exciting thing about it. So that can really boost performance more than you would expect.
I've heard that they're saying that it's an equivalent, I think, to kind of like a 4080, some shit like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
But-
I'm not worried
but-
because, huh?
But somehow it's still
4080?
only going to have one
One mod.
the hard drive space is going to be the
1
exact
terabyte?
same.
Oh, 1
1
terabyte.
terabyte
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's still going to be 1 terabyte.
Well, you can upgrade that.
Well, the
That's,
games.
Yeah,
I mean, the
but still, you
games
think
are the
with
ones
the, with the
that
Pro, they would maybe boost it to 2 gigabytes or
they're
2
gonna wanna,
terabytes.
like people are saying this thing is going to cost like 600 minimum, so they'll probably want to cut the price of this in any way they can, and like the SSD space would be one way to do that.
$599, I think it's gonna be, and they're gonna cut the price of the PS5.
I hope so.
I'm gonna buy that shit for sure.
Actually, no, I'd rather they cut the PS5 down to $399 and then give us this for the $499. And then if they do trade-in, like if they do a trade-in thing, would you get us, or would you like?
Yeah.
Are you
No,
interested?
I'll trade it in. No, I don't want to. I don't want 2 PS5s. I'll trade in this one, and I'll hopefully. Sometimes GameStop, they really want to push that shit, and sometimes it's better to trade it in GameStop than trying to sell your PS5, on the fucking Facebook Marketplace or whatever. So I'll do that shit.
I just read Jerem's comment about the duck. He said, "For fuck's sake, that's my ex-wife's ringtone. You triggered me." But yeah, I was against this, the PS5 Pro. Like I was like, I'm not getting another PS5. I don't need it. I feel like this hasn't been maxed out at all yet. But then I was reminded, oh yeah, these GameStops and stuff, they often do the trade-in things. So then it might only be like €100 or 150 or something. That'd be a lot more appealing.
Yeah.
Even though GameStops don't exist in Ireland anymore, so I don't know what I'd have to do.
Damn.
Maybe Smiths. I don't know.
Myths.
Yeah. Danny says, I don't see any reason to get the Pro. It won't help the PSVR2. Well, it should help all games
But for
perform
what?
better, including PSVR2
Or we can
games.
look at cubes slightly better.
Well, it could, like, we're talking like getting games to native 120 maybe. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe some games that are only 60, jump them up to 120, or maybe they're 90, jump them up to 120.
Could it allow a game like Gran Turismo 7 to get rid of the
Reprojection, yeah.
reprojection? Yeah.
Could be.
Could they make a version of it to play on the PlayStation Pro that doesn't have the reprojection? With a lot of games,
like, I don't think it would be a version. They'd just probably patch it into the current version.
yeah,
And then-
exactly. Just patch it that will run
Yeah.
that without the reprojection. That, like, if they can do that for like a lot of the games that have reprojection, then that alone might be a
Could
good
be worth
reason
it for
to get
that, yeah.
Yeah, everything would be smoother, and also maybe the frame rates would be better in a lot of the games too.
I think reproject, like
I
if
think the frame rate.
like the frame rate does get rid of like the higher the frame rate, the less likely you're going to have the reprojection, because you don't need reprojection if you can do it natively.
Right.
And then that just solves itself. Then the problem goes away.
Yeah. And I mean, depends. I think a lot of people, they do, like, if you're really into your PlayStation VR2, I feel like a lot of people, if you do have like some of those changes, like Mustang for Gran Turismo, it'll be enough for some of the VR people to buy this thing. But I do feel it's going to be popular for flat gamers, but not as much as it probably should. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I do assume that, let's say you play Battlefield, right? And you play the Battlefield PS5, and then you play on the PS5 Pro. Yeah, it's gonna look slightly different, but I think the biggest thing is gonna be what we talk about VR, the frame rates, right? The frame rates, and it's crazy because I never give a fuck. Yeah, 30, 60, 30, and then people are like, "Oh, my computer is $3,000 and I can run a fucking 240." I was like, "Sure, whatever. I don't give a fuck, right? I'm not competitive. I don't give a fuck about none of that stuff." But I played Battlefield for a lot on the PlayStation 5, and then I played on the PC with higher frame rates, and it makes a huge fucking difference. I don't mean about the gameplay you play better. Yeah, it might do that, but the way that it looks, it's a huge, huge difference. So I think that it can really help a lot for Flat and PSVR2 if they actually support it, which I don't see why they wouldn't support. Like you said, it's just a patch.
Yeah, if they can patch, if most developers can easily patch their games with the new Pro hardware to increase frame rate, that's much more big for VR in my mind than flat screen, because as much as it is nice to have high frame rates and smooth gameplay on flat games, it's much more. It's absolutely
Noticeable.
necessary. It's
Yeah.
noticeable and necessary for VR. That
Mhm.
that really helps get rid of motion sickness and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Like
I just remember
the more smooth the game can run with the higher frame rate, then yeah, people are most likely not to feel as sick.
100%.
Yeah.
And like if you remember PS4 Pro when that came out, like nearly every game that came out after it launched had, I think even Sony made it mandatory. Like they had to take advantage of PS4 Pro. Like there was always like a performance mode or whatever that started getting added into these things.
Right.
And even VR games benefited from that a lot. Arizona Sunshine, I think, benefited, like one of the biggest. It almost felt next gen kind of, like the draw distance was so trash on the native PS4 compared to PS4 Pro. Skyrim, I remember Skyrim kind of got a patch out of nowhere, which took advantage of the Pro as well, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, it looks way better than it did.
Right.
Anyway, Christopher Hart says 2 to 3 more times ray tracing sounds like path tracing. Yeah, I've been hearing about this path tracing thing lately. I'm not going to pretend I'm technically advanced enough to understand what that shit's about, but it seems like it's super realistic lighting techniques.
I know all about it. I just don't want to get into the ins and outs of it. Right.
That sounds good
Just
to me.
going
That'd be a whole
continue
different
on.
thing. Reg says, yeah, VR is typically GPU bottlenecked. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, Rogue. Maybe, I see, again, I don't know enough. So he could be making fun of my primitive knowledge on GPUs and CPUs.
Most likely.
But if he's not, then yeah, that's a big boost. PS5 Pro will be a big boost.
I think he's telling it. I think he's not
Sounds
lying.
true. Okay, nice one, Rogue. Gives you a lot that you can't. Danny says, not if Sony doesn't keep supporting us, they won't. Well, they forced people to support the Pro on PS4, so they did the same again on PS5. PS4 2 performances will outdo PC Viewer with the PS5 Pro. I mean, they're already doing this in some instances. Apparently, No Man's Sky runs best on PSVR 2. The Cube developer says that because of foveated rendering, like it runs better than I can't remember the fucking graphic card he said, but like one of the top end graphic cards that he uses on PC. I'm trying to catch up. Actual says, seems so silly Sony dumping PSVR 2 when the rest of the industry jumping into VR right now. Maybe they're doing a new headset.
No.
They're definitely not doing a new headset, I don't think.
No.
Although I still think a PSVR 2
That'd be the
Lite
craziest turnaround ever.
is
If,
the
like
way to go.
For what? Hey, there you go. This is another headset that does a couple different things, but there's no games.
That's their next PlayStation State of Play is to announce the next VR headset.
Can you imagine?
Everyone would just be so damn confused. What the hell is
Unless they
going
do,
on?
it's because even if, fuck, man. Let's say do the light. You see the, I don't think you have it on the topics, but because it's Quest, but you see the Quest leaks about they're doing like a light version, like a Quest Lite type of shit.
Yeah,
No,
I saw that.
cigars. They stole my
Yeah.
idea of a PSVR 2 Lite then.
They did. So
Zuck is always watching. He's
it's
always
all
watching.
over. It's all over.
And also, actually, like I don't think I agree with you when you say the rest of the industry is jumping into VR. I know Apple is, but it almost feels like they're jumping into AR and MR, not necessarily VR. You know, even Quest 3. Like I said, that it doesn't have exclusives, but I was wrong. It does have exclusives, but they're those like mixed reality games. which
you go.
are not appealing to me.
And Apple easily has enough money to just like make this headset just for the fun of it, basically, and just like if it works, great. If it doesn't, who gives a shit? Like they don't care. It's
El
like,
Nini,
it sells great.
how you doing, El Nini? Nice to see you. And Space Denzen, how you keeping? Rogue says, not being sarcastic, lol. You're pushing 2 displays that are usually 4K total. Alright. Then we agree to agree. PS5 Pro would be a benefit to PSVR2. And developers wouldn't have to do much. Like, basically, they just kind of, like, whatever's capped, just uncap it. So, like, the PS5 Pro can be taken advantage of in terms of horsepower. That's what they did for PS4 Pro. They kind of just removed frame rate caps and shit. Obviously, it's simpler than that. Or more difficult than I'm making it sound, but I don't think it's, like, crazy amount of work for them either.
I think it would be, like, so much noticeable when you play a game like Gran Turismo. If you suddenly didn't have the reprojection, you would really, like, you would notice it right off the bat. Like,
it's every time you turn your head sideways.
Yeah, like, and watching cars, it's usually when you're seeing a car drive by that you notice, like, the double vision. Yeah.
I just try to pretend my driver is drunk the whole time, and, like, you know, for the immersive experience. Like real life. Okay, next topic. Then final topic is.
Are you guys getting it? Question.
If I can trade it in.
Yeah, if I can get a good amount for a trade in, and it's not like too much, then I will. I always like to have the newer, better tech.
Do you guys think that, before we change topics, do you guys think that they're gonna do both versions of the Pro, of a digital only and disc only?
Oh, sorry, that was part of the thing. Sorry, I didn't read it out.
You bitch.
But you know how they're doing the PS5 now, where basically you can buy it and it won't have the tray, but you can buy it separately and attach it.
That shit.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to be like. You can have it's a separate add-on because they need to drive the price of it down as much as they can, which is why it's 1 terabyte as well.
I'll buy the discless version first, and then
exactly.
I don't think I've ever I put maybe 1 disc in my PS5, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I have the PS5 that has the disc, and if I get a Pro, I'll probably just get the digital version, because I think the only game I play on my system is No Man's Sky, because I bought No Man's Sky when it was like $9.99 at EB Games before it got popular again. So,
but it's cool that they have the option to buy the attached shit that you can just. That's fucking genius, I think.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's fucking expensive as well. It's like, so they're probably making a nice little profit on us as well, the fuckers.
Yeah, some bugs.
Anyway, last topic is this Aliens game. Remember Survios were working on an Aliens game, like official.
Yep.
From the Alien franchise. But like they announced it a couple of years ago, I think, and like haven't really said anything about it since. So people have been kind of worried because they've been so quiet.
It's like a lot of games though, like Behemoth. It's the same way.
Yeah. People are getting it, and fucking GTA San Andreas. Anyway, Survios is still working on the Aliens. Yeah. Is it Alien or Aliens? I can't remember what they're calling this one.
Alien is the first movie. Aliens is the second movie.
Yeah, but like, what's this game called that they're working on? I don't even have a fucking official.
Is it is it survival, right? Is it like co-op survival, or do we don't know anything about it?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it myself.
It would be cool if it would be like a fucking one person or two, whatever, are the fucking aliens, and the other people are the fucking survivors. And it's kind of like that dead fucking, I don't know, the flag game. They have to work together to get generators and shit to escape.
Dead by Daylight.
I think it would be cool if they do kind of that type of gameplay for this.
You just want Mannequin. That Mannequin game, I think you'll like that. Even though it's not quite the same. My chair is really squeaky. Sorry about that. I've got a quote here from roadtovr.com from their article about this. So they're talking about how, you know, they were worried by the silence, but fortunately we now have word that the game is still in active development. So this week at GDC 2024, Survios CTO Alexander Silkin gave a presentation covering some of the challenges and opportunities of building a VR game with Unreal Engine 5. In the session description, the studio clearly affirms Survios is utilizing these techniques to develop an upcoming VR game based on the Alien franchise. Considering the game still hasn't had a formal gameplay reveal, we're not expecting the talk itself will reveal much beyond technical development details, but at least we know the game is still in the works. So there you go. If you're worried about this game being cancelled, it seems like it's not been cancelled.
It's glad it's Survios. because they're legit.
They used to pump out like loads of games, and now it's like they've been working on this Alien game for ages.
They did the what is it? The fucking DJ game? What's it called? Electronauts? Did they do that game too? The Serbios?
Oh,
Or no?
Electronauts.
For
Did
PSVR
they do
1?
Creed? They did Creed. They did fucking Battle Wake, the pirate ship thing. They definitely did a boxing game. I can't remember if it was Creed or not.
Yes, I think they did do that pirate game.
I feel like
Yeah,
they did
the
like
pirate game.
5 or 6 games on PSVR 1. Not that I can remember them all now.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope it turns out to be good.
Raw days. I remember I told people I made a video before where I was like, remember when I was covering like Firewall 0 Hour back in the day, like the very early days. I was like, oh, First Contact made raw data as well. I accidentally said, I meant to say ROM extraction, but I said raw data. And some fella in the comments went nuts at me. He was like, "You idiot!
'cause you're a bitch.
You idiot!
You are an
You don't
idiot.
even know what fucking game they're talking. Why are you talking about this? Don't ever make a video
Why
again."
you have a VR channel if you don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Just
Yeah,
an innocent
Raw
mistake.
Data was the first game, and then Sprint Vector, Electronauts,
Vector, yes.
Creed.
That was me, Pumpkins, by the way. It was a different username.
You've been
Yeah,
shepherding me ever
Creed.
since.
Battle Wake, The Walking Dead Onslaught. I think that's the one
Walking
that
Dead
wasn't
Onslaught,
as
yes.
popular. This one's the game of the year. Puzzle Bubble VR.
Damn.
Big Rumble Boxing, Creed Champions, and Aliens is the name
Aliens.
of this. But it
There you go,
says
it's with the S.
PC. It says it says PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah, it's a flat game as well, so
PC,
it's hybrid, but it's also
VR.
viewer. So
Hopefully, if it's aliens, that means it's going to be like the Marines, so it's like team based, and it's like
yeah, I think it is
Fighting.
multiplayer. Like I can't remember. I don't want to say because I can't remember, but I thought it was some kind of multiplayer, maybe
Yeah.
co-op.
could be cool.
But yeah, that's the final topic. Anything else to be said about it before we go to the fax machine?
I'm excited about this. I'm excited to hear more, and I'm slightly confident that it's gonna be probably at least decent. I'm just curious
gonna-
to see what the gameplay is gonna be like what
Yeah.
type of fucking gameplay we're gonna get.
It's going to be a quality game, but hopefully, it's the kind of gameplay that we want. That's basically what we're saying.
I hope they got
Yep.
I hope the budget is big enough to suit the franchise. If you know what I mean, like Aliens
Yeah.
can't be
It's-
low budget.
It's
Yeah.
Unreal Engine 5. I think this game is gonna look fucking beautiful,
Hope so.
regardless if they, it's like
And
You
you
could put
didn't
a turd in
you
there and it
didn't
looks
you
pretty.
didn't you didn't say Quest when you listed out the platforms, did you? You
well, of
said-
course not. What the fuck? Unreal Engine 5. Why would it run? on a
That's what I'm
Quest 2?
saying. That's giving me hope. It's like, oh, cool. It's not running on a Quest. And again, not to shit on Quest people. Just saying.
No,
like,
that's good.
that's
I
good.
want this game.
So it would be PC VR, and PlayStation 2. PlayStation
Let's
VR
hope
2.
so. Let's hope so. I
Yeah.
don't know if they've confirmed PlayStation Viewer 2.
Yeah, well,
Could be PC. only.
Fuck.
PC only.
Where's
Get
that flying game? God damn it!
Oh, by
I
the
wanna
way,
play the fucking-
Yeah, where's Ace? Where's
Where the
Aces?
fuck is Aces?
When
Can
When are we
at
gonna
least
see
not
more?
forget-
When are we gonna see more about Behemoth? Like, where the hell's that game? I want to
Speaking-
see a trailer.
I meant to say this when we were talking about Flat2VR Studios. Like a lot of people are hoping it's Aliens Isolation is the game that they're porting, like to VR because
Oh, Flat2VR,
yeah,
that studio.
yeah, I like
Alien
a
Isolation.
lot of people are saying. Well, Bioshock is a big one as well, but Alien Isolation is a requested one.
I'll always go for a multiplayer game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like anything that's like a team based.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so I'm ready to go to the fax machine if you are.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
do it.
It's that
Thanks,
time
Margaret
again
Lady.
for questions and topics submitted by our viewers. So let's go to our fax machine and see what we have. Fax me harder, Daddy. I've been a bad boy.
Just catching up in the chat there. According to Rogue, he says Servios went to shit when they created Battlewake. I remember I got a review copy for Battlewake. I didn't enjoy it too much. Even though there's like some cool ideas, like you could drop the anchor and it would do like it would make your ship do like a handbrake turn practically, and then you could pull us up quickly again.
That's cool.
But it was like multiplayer, PvP, and it just seemed to die like straight away. Like it was a cool idea, I think, but maybe just didn't pass.
Did you put up a review about that game? I don't remember
No,
seeing
I didn't
it.
review it. I think I just streamed it. This is a PSVR 1 game, like from years ago.
Yeah, I think I missed.
Didn't they made a video compilation and you were in it or some shit like that?
That was the touring cards. That was anyway, the first question is from Pete, aka the Governor Viewer. He says, if the three of you were developers. Oh, no, wait, this is last week's question, isn't it?
This last week,
that's last week. Okay,
God.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, relax. All right, the first question is still from Peace, which is why I made the mistake. He
Sure.
said, shut up, bitch.
Blame it on Pete.
He said, what is the most money you spent on a video game, and what game was it? Obviously, it includes limited editions, etc.
So, like, in one, like, here you go, or like
Freaking-
throughout DLCs and like fucking.
That's what he said. I read out what he said. All right. There's no other
100%. 100%. If it's how much money you put into like one single game, I have to say Destiny 2 for me.
Unfortunately for me, Battlefield 5, the new Battlefield that came out. Unfortunately, I was bamboozled and I paid for the whatever edition that was like then $100, whatever edition. And I played it once or twice and I never touched it until like 2 years later.
Dumb.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm cheating with this one, but I think the most I spent was for Metal Gear Solid 5 because I bought both the limited edition, like the special edition that came with the arm, which I don't know where it is now. It's behind me somewhere. You know, the robot arm he has in the game. It came like with a minifigure of that, but I also got the special, like the limited edition PS4, which was like the color scheme of the arm as well. So I wanted both of those.
How much was it?
It was the price of a fucking PS4 at the time, and the special edition of the game then was probably like up in fucking, I don't know, I can't remember, 80, 90, 100 euro or something like that. So
Damn.
send me back a bit. But I'm kind of cheating by including the console as well.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
more
that's
in
weird.
terms of like playing, like in-game purchasing. I think maybe I think that's what he was.
But he
talking
says special
about.
editions, which makes me think he's not
Oh.
talking about.
No, especially I guess special editions means like if you buy like a collector's edition and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of those fucking like God of War fucking special editions with the figurines,
hammers
they're
and
like
fucking-
three
yeah.
fucking $100 or some shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
fuck that. No little statue is worth that.
The 8 inches of Venom.
19. It was 19 inches
19.
of
Holy
yeah.
fuck! Holy shit! Where does that
yeah.
go? Can't fit it anywhere.
It's gonna be in your closet after like a few months and never looked at
Yeah,
again.
dust.
Yeah.
Pete said, "Shut up, bitch." Yes, he did. Christopher Hart says, "PS5 Pro with PSVR2 is going to be incredible. I hope so." The Ornamek says, "Good night and dream on, fanboys. Sweet dreams." The Ornamek. Thanks for stopping by. It's not for me. Christopher says, "Higher frame rates and better resolutions, highly reduce motion sickness." 100%. 100%. Next question then is from Importon, which I didn't know he was in the fucking Discord. When did he join?
Maybe he has a different name.
Wait, you're
No,
not
it's
waiting
it's
for the
important.
people to respond about the questions. You're not including them. You're being a bitch. Tasuki just said about.
That wasn't there a fucking second ago. That wasn't there a second
It was.
ago.
It's been
It
there. You missed
wasn't
all
there a
these
second ago. The
questions.
last
All
thing
these
was Donnie
questions.
replying to
Everybody
the Mac
left
with a
because
ZZZ.
you're ignoring
He
everybody.
literally just commented it when I picked up the phone.
Listen.
He says, "I mean, the Tekken 8 Collector's Edition already on sale for $150 half off." That's not even answering it. That's not even answering the question. He's just telling me about how much the Collector's Edition for Tekken 8 is right
You're
now.
not giving people a chance to answer, but fine. Go ahead.
Pete's not asking anyone else.
All right, but you're a bitch. You're supposed to include the people in the chat. You know,
Pete wants to
there's
ask.
5
If
people
Pete wants to
watching.
ask Tasuki, he can tag him in the Discord, and he can say, "Tasuki, how much is the most you've ever spent on a game?" Important said, "If you could either lose vision in one eye, so there's a would you rather here. If you could either lose vision in one eye or be forced to view the world through Quest 3's pass-through for the rest of your life, which would you choose? You can still play games in whatever headset you like."
Lose
So,
one.
Lose
one eye.
vision in one eye, or have to always look through the lens of the Quest with the Quest 3
Quest
or
pass
3.
three?
The Quest
2 or
3.
3?
3, he said.
Quest 3 pass through.
Yeah.
Quest 3 pass through.
That's what
Fuck.
you're picking?
Yeah. Fuck. I don't know.
Damn.
It's a hard one. That's a really hard one.
Is
'Cause I was
there
like, no,
any-
I want my natural eyes, but then I'm like, nah, because
If you lose an
I
eye,
don't-
you lose like depth perception, don't you?
Yeah, I haven't actually looked through. I haven't worn a Quest 3 to know what the pass through looks like,
Same
so I
here.
can't really make a sound judgment.
Same here.
But if it's like a 1-for-1, if there's no, is there any like latency on like what you're seeing, or is it like all like perfect real time?
There's like a weird blur. I've seen like people streaming this, and there's like a blurry fucking effect that appears if.
Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not like a camera, but it's way better. Like the Quest 2 is just grayed out bullshit.
Yeah, but is there any like delay? Like, so if like if I move my hand, is it like a just like a quick like a fraction of a second delay?
I think it's not that big of a delay, but I don't know. I think LSB, I don't know if he's still in the chat. Maybe he can let us know, because he was actually the other day he was streaming and doing shit on from his Quest, and it's pretty cool. But I don't know if
I don't think I could live like, you can't live like that every day. I'd go with lose the eye, and I'd wear a cool eye patch like Big Boss.
I don't know if he means. Does he mean that you always have to have like wear the VR headset on your head, or your vision just looks like the pass?
Well, he said you can play whatever headset you want, so that must mean that.
So I think
you're just
I think
your
that
vision.
Just means your vision. Your vision just looks like what the pass through looks like.
Yeah.
So
probably the vision, the pass through, the questicle.
I think I would do the pass through.
I'm losing an eye.
Even I don't think.
Because if you watch someone streaming with the pass through on, like there is a weird blurry kind of, I don't know what it is, like when objects get too close,
but you
it
have
distorts
one
it.
eye.
Yeah, but okay.
You just have one eye.
But you still see. You still see.
Shit.
You know?
No,
it's not like I don't like. Listen, I need to test out the Quest 3, but I don't think the resolution is going to be matching my fucking eyeball. If you know what I'm saying.
Maybe you could. Maybe you could correct the vision with like glasses or something.
I don't know. Anyway, I've said my choice. I don't trust the Quest 3.
Terrible
Maybe
choice.
the Quest 4.
Choice.
Maybe the Quest 4 would be good enough, but the Quest 3 I don't think it is. Plus, they want to be capped at a certain frame rate as well.
I don't know.
So you're forced to view the world in 60 frames per second.
I just don't like the idea of losing an eye. So
understandable. Yeah. You would have a cool eye patch though, so keep that in mind.
No one wants to be a pirate anymore. Shut up.
Last question is from the amazing LSB. He says, what was your first gaming console? What was the first game you ever played, and do you still play it?
Come on, how are we gonna still play the first game we've ever played?
My first gaming console was the original NES, but I played the Atari a whole bunch at my friend's place. So my first game would have been an Atari game that I played. I don't know which one. I can't remember.
Jackpot. Your first game was probably like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Bugsnax. The first game that I played was on a PC with a how do you call them in fucking English? The discs, right? Floppy disks, right? Yeah. And then you put the fucking floppy disk and you put some command, and there was a Coca-Cola game, like a snowball fight, lame ass fucking game, but Coca-Cola game. I remember it was in my fucking aunt's office, and it was fucking lame as fuck. That was the first video game I've ever played. Actual consoles was Atari. What is it, Pong, whatever it's called. And the first the first console that I actually owned myself, it was Super Nintendo. My dad got me the Super Nintendo with a bundle with fucking Super Mario and a bunch of other fucking games. That was my first console that I owned.
All right.
Yep.
First console that I owned myself was PS1, but the first console I played was over at my friend's house, like Muzz. I was over there all the time. We played his Sega Mega Drive, which I think is a different name in America, like Genesis or some shit. And he had this game, which was 6 games in one. Like, it was just like, I remember it was like a red label on the front that said 6 in 1. It had Sonic, it had Streets of Rage, it had Shinobi, and like there was a FIFA game on it as well. But I think like Streets of Rage, like I would say is the first one. That's the one that sticks out in my head as like the very first game I played. And it was sick as hell. And I don't play it anymore. No, I don't play it anymore. That was his last question. Do you still play it? No.
No, I don't have no floppy disk around. I don't got a fucking
play Coca-Cola Snowball Fight.
1994 PC.
I do still have my original NES system somewhere boxed up in the closet, and I also have the Sega Master System that I also had still boxed up somewhere in the closet.
What do you think was the best?
And
console?
I have the NES Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini as well hooked up to my TV. So every once in a while I do play some of those old games on
What do you think was the
Very
best
nice.
console? Don't say PS5. Like back like overall. What do you think was the best overall time with fucking good
Oh,
games, everything? What do you think will be
Super Nintendo, I think, was
Super Nintendo?
yeah, that was a heyday of games on that.
I think for me, PS3. I think I had,
PS3?
I had a really slow start, and then all of a sudden, this like once Uncharted 2 dropped, then all these bangers started coming out. Like God of War 3 came out. I loved Heavy Rain when that came out as well.
Heavy
Like
Rain was
Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Resistance, Killzones, like loads of good games in that.
There was a lot of games. I'm just taking into account of not the like obviously games look better as time goes on, but like
Yeah.
at the time when the games were coming out, there was just so much abundance of games on Super Nintendo. It's like there was just too much to choose. Like there was like
And good
options
games too, dude. Not
yeah,
like
and
trash.
they're all fun. Yeah.
Yeah, Super Nintendo was a shit. I like 64 too. I for some reason the what is it? GameCube.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun in the fucking GameCube, but
I remember one March break, me and my cousin, we just played through like the Turtles in Time. We just played that nonstop all through March break. It was crazy.
Damn, Heroes in the Half Shell.
Yeah, all
As they
those
say on
good
the streets.
multiplayer games.
Try and catch up on the chat. Suki says Quest 3 isn't perfect, but looks a lot better than Quest 2. Actual says it has no delay. Rogue says the Quest 3 posture is still grainy and looks way worse than the video showed. There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. One eye is better than that. Tsuki says you would have a tough time reading in the Quest 3. You can a bit. I'm having a tough time reading right now, actually, so wouldn't make a difference to me, I suppose. Rogue says the warping, that's it, can be a bit weird, and latency is good, but it still looks like shit. Well, there you go. When you move objects, they can warp. The worst thing about having one eye is your FOV is smaller. Well, also, like, VR wouldn't work anymore, would it? Like, the 3D effect would be lost if you only had one eye. Like, I wouldn't be able to play PSVR2.
You wouldn't be able to play VR.
But I'd sacrifice it, you know? I'd just go back to flat. Can't remember if the NES was first or if I played the Apple Math games on a floppy or something first. Apple Math.
nice.
Vectrix, says Rogue. I don't know what the fuck a Vectrix even is, and Atari as well. Dynason's first console was actually two at the same time, Atari and ColecoVision.
Damn.
Never played that either. Is there an Amstrad? I think I played that as a friend's house as well, but that wouldn't have been my first.
What was the handheld, the Sega handheld? That was a shit. I had that. I forgot already what was it called.
Neo Geo. Was it Neo Geo?
No. That's the oh shit.
Cool, dude.
The handheld
Game
Sega?
Gear. The Game Gear.
Game Gear, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Game Gear. That was a shit.
The Game Gear was awesome. The problem with that, was that the batteries only lasted like a half an hour because it was
how much were you spending to keep that thing running?
Fucking brick. You can kill somebody with that. But it was a shit, dude.
Tsuki says Super Nintendo or PS1, which I assume means what's his favorite one, maybe. I fucking lost where I was. My third console was the Intellivision. That thing was sick at the time. Sega says Ace Diaz. How you doing, Ace Diaz? Germs has played Atari, owned by family. NES, owned myself. Dreamcast. People who own the Dreamcast love the Dreamcast.
Dude, I remember I came to America like for my fourth, fifth time visiting, and I had money for fucking games, and I was like, fuck, dude. I wonder, it was before the Xbox. It was like the Xbox was about to came out, or it just came out, and I was like, fuck, I can't afford that, but I can afford Dreamcast. And I ended up buying that shit, and it was fucking hilarious because the graphics back in the day were fucking amazing, but not real life. We see right now. But my uncle was blown away because I had this tennis game. And he was like, "Oh my fucking god, are you watching real TV?" And I was like, "Nah, dude, it's a fucking game." And now I look at that game and it's like fucking bricks playing tennis. And it's like, what the fuck was he? He's
fucking stoned out of his head.
But the Dreamcast was the shit. And then the controller, you can put like, I forgot, it was like a memory thing or whatever in there.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast was the shit, dude.
Like Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi was crazy to play. When
Soul Calibur, fucking Soul
Soul Calibur
Reaver.
was amazing.
Christopher Harris says, I loved Electronauts.
That was a console ahead of its time because it was definitely like better graphics than the other competing hardware. But
Didn't it have like online as well? It was like the first online games, like Fantasy Star Online or some shit.
Yeah.
Deadeye says, my first was a... well, that's just obscure. I'm just preparing myself for whatever the fuck fossil of a machine Dan is about to say. The abacus now, I suppose, or something. My first was a Sears Telstar, and I had one game, Pong. I didn't know what the fuck a Sears Telstar is.
I don't know what that is.
Tasuki says, also back then as a kid, you have a lot more time to game. Yeah, you play the shit. And I couldn't beat the games. That's the thing. Like, I remember I had Resident Evil 1 and 2, and I could never make it past certain parts. And I'd play them over and over again for like years before I could finally get past them. I still have my Game Gear, says Ace Diaz. Jack bought that, had money, and was like, I should buy a dead console. Lol, damn.
What?
He's
Dead
always
console?
making... Yeah, the Dreamcast fucking was dead on arrival. That shit was dead. Like, nobody bought that. It died like after a year. Didn't it was like after a year they cancelled it or something?
That was the shit.
Fozzie Bear's first was the Genesis. Still have them all PS1 through 5. All Nintendos also. Danny says, off topic, I needed 2 kills for a trophy and killed 4 last night, but still didn't pop. You just give up on the trophies, Danny. Just give up on them. If you weren't a trophy hunter, you'd be so much happier in life. I promise you that. SDS says, Wii still has my game. What? Why?
Wii?
Why? WI. What's WI?
Oh.
Still have my Game Gear with Mortal Kombat 2.
I think he meant this. Maybe he just meant to say I still have.
Okay, that would make sense. Jerm says, calling plays on your controller for NFL 2K was killer. What game did you do that? Or what console? I don't know.
Dreamcast, probably.
I think the Dreamcast maybe.
It had a microphone?
Ooh, there was a rally game that was fucking sick, too. I forgot already what it was. Yeah, Dreamcast was cool. And especially because when I lived in Mexico, you go to the fucking... like market, whatever, and you can pirate the shit out of the game, so you can just get like really cheap games.
No, the reason why the Dreamcast died is because they made it so easy for games to be burnt, and, like copied, and.
Well, I think there was like 12 different reasons. Like, didn't they just kind of drop it stealth as well?
Yeah.
No, like literally,
was that the one? Was that the different one? I can't remember.
Once they cracked it to how to like copy games, all people did was just like rent a Dreamcast game, go home and copy on a disc, return the game back to the rental store, and then you own the game. Yeah, it was too easy to like just you could get whatever games you want basically once you knew how to do it.
Dum-dums.
So yeah, then once the games, no one bought the games anymore because everyone just burnt the games from rental places.
Dan says Sears was a big department store. It's crazy to think. Are you telling me a department store had their own console? Tasuki says, in Resident Evil, until someone else showed me, I never got out of the mansion. I didn't figure out the painting puzzle from young to old, so I never got out until one of my dad's friends showed me, lol. And Sega Rally, lol, as well. Yeah, I was like Silent Hill as well. I had Silent Hill. I borrowed it from a friend. And there was some puzzle with the piano. You had to play the notes a certain way, and I never knew how. And I just had to give it back. Frustrated. Germ says, not a mic. It had a little screen on your controller that was also the memory unit, and it was removable. Daytona Racing on Saturn was cool. And Tasuki says Dreamcast died because no one trusted them anymore after the Sega CD, and Sega 32X. They would drop support for quick, and then the Sega Saturn screw up hurt them bad. Yeah. Well, listen, there's probably like 20 different reasons Sega fucked up. I feel like Xbox are going the way of Sega. I think the next Xbox will be the last Xbox.
Yep.
The way they're going. And all
they're
their
doing
games,
streaming now.
Halo's coming to PS6. PS5 maybe as well. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Mick says, C64 is my favorite gaming system. Commodore 64. Now he's going back in time. A lot of old people. A lot of old dusty ass bitches in the chat.
In all honesty, with like how Microsoft is like wanting to like put Halo on other consoles and stuff, it's only realistic when you think about it because of how much games cost to make nowadays. Like imagine how much more money Sony would have made with the last Spider-Man game if they could have sold it on Xbox and PC and everything else. Like,
Yeah, but then the argument is, well, would they have sold 50 million consoles if they did that?
doesn't they still would have sales, like selling it on Xbox, so they could have like doubled their sales basically in the game just because it's cross-platform instead of just limiting it just to Sony players. I mean,
Yeah, but
if you want to recoup all of your money from making these big expensive games, you need to make them playable for more people basically.
But you also have a console to sell, so you need exclusives to sell the console. And then once they're in your ecosystem, you start making money off all the software they buy on your console. So, like, I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah, make it limited release on your platform first, and eventually sell it on Microsoft like a year later.
I
Still get sales.
I don't think they'll do that. They might, like, eventually. I know Xbox are doing that, but I don't know if Sony will. Anyway, that's the cue to get out of here. So, lads, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. It's been 2.5 hours. I thought we were only going to have like 1 hour of conversations here.
We drug it out like always.
Yep, we sure did.
We did it.
We sure did.
It's your fault.
Anyway, everyone in the chat, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for the chats. I appreciate it. And thanks for the fax machine questions as well. We'll see you next week. Same time.
GG.
Same bad time, same bad channel. Goodbye.
What
Bye,
the
Hellbangers.
fuck is this?